Drifting jest to bardzo widowiskowy sport, ale żeby był widowiskowy, musi być bardzo blisko kibiców, żeby te samochody przejeżdżały jak najbliżej, a żeby dało się to zrobić, to trzeba zabezpieczyć zawsze trasę i Trans pomaga nam z tymi klockami Lego, tak żeby zawodnicy mieli fajną trasę, a też żeby wszyscy byli bezpieczni.
Welcome everyone back to the top 16 here at the pro classification at the third round of DMP 2025, the penultimate round of the season. We're celebrating 15 years of smoke here at DMP. I'm joined by Kian Reedy. My name is Brandon Carr, and we're here to have a good time. It's been crazy so far in the top 32.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. Top 32 was an absolute killer set of runs from every single driver. Had a good few bye runs, but moving through to the top 16, we have an absolute unbelievable set of drivers in this top 16. Looking at these battles here, it's going to be unbelievable. But here's our season schedule. We are here round 3 at Tor Kielce yesterday and today. And then we will be moving to the last round in Poznan at round 4 next month. Like we said, I'm Cian Reedy. I'm joined by Brandon Carter here as well. And Brandon, I'm super duper excited.
Yep, and we're about to meet our on-track staff.
Cześć, Kamil Michałowski z tej strony. Ja będę waszym przewodnikiem po tym wszystkim, co będzie działo się dzisiaj na torze podczas tej transmisji. Jeśli macie jakieś pytania do kierowców, to postaram się wam je dowieść podczas rozmów, gdy będą poznawali wyniki.
Witam Was serdecznie, Wiktoria Rozenek. Ja na bieżąco relacjonuję dla Was wydarzenia z toru na naszych socialach. Driftingowe Mistrzostwa Polski.
Pogoda jest idealna, więc jeśli macie niedaleko jeszcze tutaj na tor pod Kielcami, to zapraszamy, bo bilety jeszcze są, więc jeśli chcecie zobaczyć te zmagania na żywo, to myślę, że na top 8 jest szansa zdążyć. Top 16, klasy pro, zaczynamy.
So that is Victoria and Camille, who run both our social media accounts and does our live reporting on the side. But look at this top 16 bracket, Kian.
Yeah, this top 16 bracket is going to be unbelievable. Right off the bat, we've got Lukasz Szymski and Marek Wartalowicz. Moving on to Oris Mizolchuk, Marcin Neyman, Mads Andersen versus Mikołaj Zarakewski, Kevin Verubel versus Pavel Hudacek, Dominic Kerr versus Valery Shelov, Nasa Al-Halbali versus Bartosz Stolarski, Victor Anderson versus Greg Merlew, and Jakub Kroll versus Thomas Magnar. Unbelievable set of runs. The one I'm most excited for, though, Victor Anderson, Greg Merlew. That is going to be an unbelievable battle. Both of these guys doing so well yesterday in qualifying. And then we have Greg earlier on suffering a bit of damage with a battle with Karolina Pilarczyk. So I'm really excited.
So, running through the track layout here at round 3, we have a really interesting layout. As you can see here, we go up towards the initiation. We've got a long lead up to the initiation line, which you can see marked in yellow there. There is a little decel zone there, because if you go into outer zone 1 or outer clip 1 too quickly, you will go off track, as we have seen as we go around through the banked corner into outer zone 2. This is a long one and a difficult one that is proving it to be a challenge for a lot of these drivers. As we come around now towards outer clip 3, we do have another decel there, which a lot of drivers are utilizing angle for, and then we move into the carousel section, which is outer zone 4, into an inner clip that then follows to outer zone 5 and across the line. So it's a very technical, fast layout, which is really, really good, and we're very excited to see what happens in top 16.
Yeah, absolutely. This track, very, very technical. So we will be seeing some fireworks, I think, Brandon, in our top 16 here. We already saw that in our top 32 with a lot of different types of contact and stuff like that. Here's our beautiful judges. As we move along, we have Karol Jablansky, David Kalas, Piri Verkula, and Jakub Zufczek, as Piri and Jakub being our line judges, Karol being our angle judge, and David being our style judge for the weekend. David also being our lead judge for this weekend. So we'll move it on, Brandon. What do we have coming up?
Some absolute madness, which is the top 16. So we'll wait for our first drivers to get onto the line. As you can see, their track is looking crazy. Obviously, Marek there with the whole front end off. The full clamshell is currently off of the car. So it looks like we have got him checking everything over before he moves on. Obviously, there you can see all the setup of the car, including suspension, geometry, everything absolutely insane.
Yeah, Marek is in that first battle there. He did suffer a little bit of damage earlier on in the top 32. So I wonder there, is that something that to do with that contact earlier on, that why they have the car stripped down that much? But you can see there, it's a very easy car to work on. Lots of room. You can take that whole clamshell off all in one. So hopefully they get that car ready for the top 16, which is coming up very, very soon. Marek is in that first battle, so we will see what has happened there as we have a look down at our beautiful, beautiful track here with our car show and our trade stands and all of the pits for the drivers. We'll have a quick look around there. I'm still looking at that Saab. I love that car. But we will be moving on to our top 16 very, very shortly. Brandon, what are you most excited for in this top 16? What battle really stands out to you?
Ooh. Now that's a hard one because there are so many good battles in here. And to be fair, I'm hoping Greg Merrilew has got his car fixed ready for the top 16 because that is going to be interesting with Greg Merrilew. Obviously, a man that is really on a mission as well, Mads Andresen as well. There's multiple drivers in this top 16 that are really on form this weekend. So we're going to have to see how they do as they go into their battles. But obviously, look at the crowd here, absolutely rammed around those barriers. Everyone's getting a good view there. I can see a lot of kids just chilling, enjoying the show as they give us all a wave. I wish they could hear us, but unfortunately, I don't think they'd understand us very well. But as you can see there, all the banners with our supporters and sponsors. So a big shout out to them and a massive shout out to everyone who is both tuning into the live stream on YouTube and to the people who turn up to the events. Without them, we wouldn't have this amazing spectator sport, which is drifting, because it is a good show to be a part of, and even as a spectator. So make sure you come down, and if you ever get a chance, try and get a chance to come to our final, which will be coming in the next few weeks. So I know I'm going to try and make it there for the final. Whether it be I have to crawl, walk, fly, I don't know. I'm going to try and be there. And yeah, it is going to be a great time.
Yeah, just looking through our top 16 bracket here, Brandon, one man that I'm really excited to see in our top 16 is Kevin Verubel. We saw him earlier on about versus Ite Sada on an absolute flyer there earlier on. Very, very fast E36 up against Pavel Hudacek in that 350Z, that full carbon fiber 350Z. Pavel hasn't done a proper battle yet. He did have a buy run into the top 16 earlier on. So unfortunately, Arthur Haverlenko not making it to the line for his battle with Pavel. So it's another man I want to see. Mads Andersen has Mikołaj Zarakowski as well. So look, this is a big, big set of battles here, and anything like any of these drivers could win these battles. There's not one battle where I'm looking at it going, do you know what? He could win this. He could win that. Who's going to go through? I'm not looking at that at all, as we do have drivers pulling to the line here. I believe, do I see Tashemski here? I don't. I do see a BMW, and I do see.
No, he is there. He's. Oh no, he's in the background there. So we're just waiting on Marek.
This will be Marcin Neyman and Oris Mizolchuk on the line.
You know what? Just for that, I'm cracking open a Red Bull for this first battle.
Absolutely.
Oh,
so Marcin
just
on
sprayed
the line
me on my
here.
face.
Oris Mizolchuk on the line. Would you get the lights going red, Brandon?
Here we go, Orest versus Marcin. This is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, Orest not having the easiest fight into the top 16. But here we go, coming into the initiation, looking good on form in the initiation as they come around now up the bank towards outside zone 2. Fulfilling that decently, could have been a bit deeper, but Orest isn't really anywhere to be seen. But he gets the dive onto the side of that Minobi, but almost over rotates. Somehow manages to keep it in drift as they come around now to through outside zone 4. Doing a good job around the carousel as they come around. Look at Orest almost overtaking, making contact, but doesn't shake him as they come around now across the line through out of 5. What a way to start the top 16. Jesus.
Yeah, run 1 here for the top 16 of Heat 2. So Orest, I think this is the story of Orest being a bit too aggressive here. So he does have a little bit of a gap there to Marcin at the start of this run, and he does need to make that up. Marcin doing a very nice job out in the lead here, collecting the zones. Now you see Orest starting to reel in Marcin ever so slightly as we transition down into the detail here. This is where Orest makes that initial dive, but does over-rotate and has to pilot the car back around, rotate it back around to get back up onto Marcin's door. He does make up a lot of ground very fast here as he comes around to outer zone 4 on the door of Marcin, but then makes that contact there, just getting that little bit too aggressive and pushing Marcin up across the line there. Orest, on a mission today, wants to do well here. Marcin doing a very, very nice lead run out the front there as we have our start line marshal just checking over Marcin's car, just making sure that there's no damage there. And I think he just duct taped up the bumper there. So we'll wait for the light to go.
The magic tape, very, very famous magic tape, keeping somehow cars together. As the lights go green, Marcin in the chase, Orange in the lead in that S14. Let's see what happens in this second section. Will there be contact made as Marcin follows in that S14? But Orest has got a gap going there as he comes around into outside zone 2, looking really nice on form on that lead line, exactly where we need him to be as he comes through our club 2. Nice transition now coming into outside zone 4 on the carousel, looking very solid, but Marcin is there. He is in the fight. He is in the conversation as they come around now. He doesn't have to do anything crazy because there was contact made as they come around across the line through outside zone 5. Solid performance there between the both of them.
Yeah, let's break this down now. So Orest doing a very, very nice lead line here, definitely trying to make up for any of the mistakes in the first run here. But you can see Marcin putting on there's a little bit of gap developed, and he does cut track there to get up to Orest's store as he transitions back here, coming through outer zone 3. You'd expect him to make a dive, but he doesn't. But this is where he tries to do it here, coming into outer zone 4. Does make up a little bit of that gap, does reel him in slightly, but Orest doing a very nice job to keep that gap at bay. Coming through the inner clip 1 here, Orest just pulls away from Marcin, and I'm not too sure does Marcin have an issue with that car now, but we shall see what happens with the judges here. And when we get their call, as we see Marcin get out of the car, gives the crowd a wave, and Orest will start to jump out of the car here now.
Amazing driving by both of these absolute titanic drivers.
Orest can't actually get out of his car.
His door was looking a bit stuck there. But yeah, really good driving between the two of them. It looks like a panel gap has closed between the door and the front wing, possibly from the contact. I'm not too sure. And who's moving on into the top 8? And it is going to be a one more time. Marcin and Orest not having enough to go either way, so the judges want to see them go again. So we're going to get them sent back into the pits, get themselves prepped for their one more time, which I do believe we will be moving on to our next battle, though. Crazy stuff as we have Marek at the line with Lucas Szymski from the looks of this. And yes, they are both there. It looks like it does have a front end on the front of that PS13 as it's kind of surprising that it's a full clamshell front and rear. You probably know, Kian, it is not cheap to do a clamshell setup on any of these cars, especially on an S chassis.
No, it's not cheap, but it is doable. I mean, you could just, screw the panels together and just hope for the best. But as we do get red lights here, the lights go green. Lucas Szymski leaves the line through the start line chicane as Szymski pedals that S14 down, flicks across onto outer zone 1, and look at Marek, he's right on the door of Lucas Szymski as they go around outside zone 2 and down the hill. They go through the D cells, rotates the car around to outer zone 4. Marek getting a little bit caught up there in the chase, but gets back on the door of Lucas Szymski, come around about into the inner clip here as they work their way around to outer zone 5 and across the line. Brandon, what a run.
Wow. absolutely textbook driving from both Lucas and Marek. Obviously, these two guys clearly know each other's driving styles very well. Marek trusting Lucas's lead there. But look at this from Marek in that S13, the Max Racing PS13. Look at this proximity control through outer zone 2. This is probably some of the best we've seen through that first section so far. As they come around, transitioning from 3 to 4. Look at that from Marek. Maybe a bit of a check up on the angle, but does a good job of maintaining it. As he comes around outside zone 4, Lucas Szymski, once again, just an absolutely textbook lead line, proving why he is our top qualifier for this weekend and just doing everything he needs to do. And as we flip him around, this is definitely going to be interesting as we have him back of the line now. Marek in the lead, Lucas Szymski in the chase as the lights go red. They've put an OMT a bit early there as the battle is not done, but as we have to leave the line now, Marek in the lead. Lucas Szymski is going to have to put on a good chase here as they initiate now into outer zone 1. Looking a bit further behind though, Lucas Szymski is, as they come around outside zone 2, maybe a bit shallow there for Marek. As Lucas comes around into the next section, he goes for the dive as they come around outside zone 4, round the carousel. Lucas Szymski not looking as strong as he normally is. His back bumper goes flying as he does a dirt drop, but he does over rotate, but Marek shuts it down almost. What a mistake. As you can see, as they come through the first half of the course, Lucas is a bit hesitant as he comes through and transitions into outer 3. Looking decent, but it's here where it gets interesting. Marek puts on a lot of angle. Lucas Szymski follows in and matches. A little bit shallow on the angle, but it does look like Marek does dirt drop first, which leads Lucas Szymski into the dirt. And obviously Marek does over rotate, which causes Lucas to do the same. So it was potentially a mistake there and fault by Marek, but we'll have to see. Obviously, I'm not a judge. It's definitely going to be an interesting call as we'll get them to our results area. As you can see there, Lucas Szymski meeting up with Marek. Definitely an interesting way to end their top 16 battle. As who's moving on into the top 8? Lucas Szymski moving on into the top 8. Congratulations to him once again, moving ever so closer to that podium once again. Can he get it back to back? 2 rounds in a row. We will have to see as he gives a bow to the crowd with his rear bumper on the back of his car as our marshal lets him know, yeah, it's there. But now we have Mikolaj in the chase lane in that gorgeous S15 looking absolutely stunning. And who will he be chasing in? It is Mads Andersen, the madman, with that gorgeous E92 Eurofighter. I don't think it's actually a Eurofighter, but it is a gorgeous car regardless. I was speaking to him over the break between top 32 and top 16, and he is just an incredible character. He is really, really happy with how he is driving this weekend, and we'll have to see how he does as the lights go red and now they go green. Here we go, Mads Andersen leading in Mikolaj. Here we go, 2 very different cars, 2 very different drivers as he flicks in, big flick, but look at this from Mikolaj as he comes around. Crazy initiation between the two of them as we go through outside zone 2. Transition now into our clip 3. This is looking really good for Mads Andersen though. Really tidy lead line, but Mikolaj just right there on the pocket, almost front wheel to front wheel as they come round outside zone 4, now towards the inner clip. This is looking really solid between the two of them as they come through outside zone 5 and across the line. What a run between the two of them. Mikolaj could have been a bit deeper there, but wow, what a run, Kian.
Yeah, let's break this down really quick. Mads Andersen doing a very nice lead line there. Mikolaj just dropping wheels on the outside of the track there as we came around. Mads doing a very, very nice line through outer zone 2. As we come down the hill here, we transition back. Mikolaj is going to want to make a dive here, and he does. He gets straight down onto the door. When we transition back here, this is really where we see drivers do a lot more of a dive. If they do an initial dive, they'll do another dive here and get up onto the door, the lead driver, and Mikolaj does just that. As Mads does drop a little bit of a wheel there on the outside of the track coming out of outer zone 4 and then across the inner clip and across outer zone 5 and across the line they go. Very, very tidy run from both drivers here, doing exactly what the judges are asking of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, Mads Andersen now, he's going to go absolutely crazy, I reckon, in the chase as he is now flipped around with Mikolaj in the lead. Here we go, lights go green. They send it down the main straight. It is a long main straight, so they get plenty of speed. Remember, there is a little bit of a decel there, but they actually come around out of clip 1, doing a good job so far as they come through outside zone 2 now. Can Mads Andersen get the dive onto the side of Mikolaj? He does, as he comes around now into out of 4. Look at this from Mads Andersen as they come around. He is chasing them. He's a man possessed. He wants to win. He wants to get further into the competition as they come around through the inner clip. But he does cut the inner clip there in the lead as they come around out of 5 and across the line. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think this could become lead to lead, chase to chase. The judges are going to have to look at this very carefully.
Yeah, they will indeed. This is a very close battle here, Brandon. So we can see Mads Andersen, a little bit of a gap there initially, but then does start to reel in Mikolaj nice and slowly as we transition back through the decel zone here. We go through it. Mads Andersen does make that dive here onto outer zone 4. Makes that very, very nicely. Mikolaj on a nice, tidy line there coming through as Mads Andersen right there on the side of that S14-9. Or is it an S15? I think an S15. As we come around to outer zone 5, and across the line, the judges are going to be splitting hairs here. It's going to be very hard for the judges to split this one apart. Brandon, I don't think we're done with one more time today by any stretch of the imagination.
No, definitely not. It's hard to say. Obviously, we're not judges, and it's very hard to kind of see where this will go. But I could see this potentially going one more time. Not really any major mistakes to be made by either side. So it's literally in the hands of the judges completely now. And both cars looking absolutely phenomenal. And I do believe they're running the same wheels as well. I think they're both on 59 Norths.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Brandon.
I think the exact same model of 59 North as well, which is really, really cool. It definitely seems to be the wheel manufacturer choice here in the Polar Series. I mean, can you blame them?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Mads.
Very, very nice set of wheels. Mads Andersen's car there, that full carbon Kevlar E92. I'm not sure, like you said, Brendan, I'm not sure if that is actually a HDK Eurofighter or not. I'm not too sure at all. But we do get a decision here, and we're getting it one more time. Like I said, Brandon, we are not done with one more time today at all. We are only starting one more time yet again.
Yep.
So I believe we will actually be going back to a one more time here. I'm not
one more time for one more time. Oh, we got
we
Pavel
will be
Hudacek.
moving on to Kevin Vrubel and Pavel Hudacek. This is
going to be interesting.
Super duper excited for, because Vrubel is on a mission today. He is driving unbelievably. He had that battle with Ite earlier on, and Pavel Hudacek hasn't had a proper battle today. He had a bye run through, but he is no slouch either. So we will see how this battle goes as we wait for our start line marshal to give the signal to our drivers, Brandon.
Yep, obviously the overlay does not reflect the drivers on there. But we got Kevin Vrubel in the lead with the Sujigiri collective steering wheel in the cockpit. I will always point out, and I don't care what anyone says, that is a gorgeous wheel. But here we go, Kevin Vrubel in the chase, in the lead with that E36. Look at that, maybe a bit shy now, clip one. This is the worst initiation we've seen from him so far, but obviously he does collect out zone 2, and he does a good job of recovering the run so far. But look at, Pavel Hudacek getting a bit crazy in the chase there, getting a bit too aggressive. Tries to find the door of Kevin Vrubel in that E36, but he is trying his hardest to pedal that 350Z around across outside zone 5, and does manage to get into the pocket, but definitely not the cleanest run from either of them. Obviously, Kevin Vrubel doing a good job of cleaning up that lead line towards the middle of the track there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a bit of a weird entry there for Kevin Vrubel. Does get back up onto outer zone 2 very nicely there. Hudacek leaving a bit of a gap there. Not too sure what happened there with Kevin, so he gave a little bit of a gap as they come down into outer zone 3 here. There is a dive made by Pavel. He has to over-rotate to slow the car down and not make contact with Kevin, and then does make another dive about halfway through outer zone 4 to try get back up onto the door of that E36. Not a bad chase for him, but a lot less kind of silly little mistakes there, but he will want to clean them up for his lead run in the next half of this battle. Kevin really doing a very nice job towards the end of that, and Pavel nearly making contact with the back of Kevin's car coming off the end of the line there. As we do have both our drivers back online here, and we wait for the start line marshal to give the signal.
Here we go, lights go green. Kevin Vrubel in the chase, Pavel Hudacek in the lead. Let's see what they can do. as we come around into the initiation again. But look at Kevin Roble right there on the initiation, just fall a little bit behind there. But as he comes around now, Pavel Hudacek is a bit shallow there in outside zone 2, but Kevin Roble doing a good job of following him as they come around now and transition from 3 to 4 into the carousel. But Pavel Hudacek doing a really good line into 4, but does almost drop. He does drop wheels, which just caused Kevin Roble to pull back a bit there. So, and he takes a cone with him towards the end of the track.
Yeah, so that thing here, Kevin just getting a little bit caught off guard by Pavel's line coming up the bank here. So he does go to make a dive, and then all of a sudden Pavel does drop down, and Kevin has to adapt to that, has to follow him down a little bit. It takes a little bit of time. As they transition back through outer zone 3 here, they transition back towards 4. Kevin's back up onto the pocket of the 350Z, and then Pavel does end up dropping wheels the whole way along here. Kevin has to deal with that slow down, check up that E36, takes a cone for a spin around the track with him, as Pavel does pull a bit of a gap there through no fault of Kevin's there. I don't think that was very unexpected there for Kevin. He dealt with that quite well, I must say. So we will get both those guys back up into the carousel, get them up out of the cars as we wait for the judges to drop down their scores. We'll get them out of the cars. The crowd will give them a nice big round of applause as we do have a decision here. And Kevin Vroubel gets the win and goes through to the top 8. And we will see Pavel Hudacek back for the next round in Poznan, as those guys have a bit of a hug.
Crazy stuff. Kevin Roble, an absolute monster this weekend. And Pavel Hudacek trying his hardest in that 350. Big shout out. But we do have Orest back at the line in the chase position. And I do believe this is one more time between him and Neyman. Yes, it is. Martin Neyman in the lead once again. So obviously they want him to be cleaning up. And as you can see there, we do have some interesting battles to follow. But here we go as the lights go red. We get them ready as they go green. Here we go. Martin Neyman in the lead. Orest in the chase. Let's see what we can do in that one more time as they come around. That BMW flying into the initiation, dropping tyres. But Orest is right there on the rear quarter. Can he get the dive back on? He can, but he's jamming back and forth as they come around now into our Club 3, doing a good job so far. That is 14 is trying his hardest to get there into the proximity. A bit shallow at the start of outside 4 on the carousel there from Martin Neyman as he comes around now in towards the inner clip. Good stuff though between both of these drivers, especially at the start as they come across the line from out of 5. Good driving, lads.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down. So Marcin right off the bat here drops wheels on entry, unfortunately for him, but RS doing a very, very tidy job to deal with that. Coming up into outer zone 3 here, we transition back. RS makes a dive, but has to kind of wait for Marcin to re-transition back towards outer 4. It goes on a bit of a weird line. RS has to deal with that, but makes quick work of dealing with that as we come around into the inner clip here. RS right there with that BMW as we come around to outer zone 5 and across the line. So we will see what the judges make of that one after the second half of this battle, as we just see our start line marshal grabbing a fire extinguisher into Orest.
Orest maybe having a bit of a... Did he pop an oil line, or it looks like we do have a fire in the engine bay. This is an interesting development here. You got her a bit too hot there, but it does look like it's on the exhaust side. Yeah, potentially, could there be a turbo? Yeah, would it be a turbo line that's potentially popped? Very interesting development. It does look like it's coming from the manifold side though, not the turbo. Looks like it is coming from the manifold. It's hard to say. Obviously, our start line marshals do not want to send any cars down in without knowing that they are safe. Obviously, he's checked it over now, and he's going to be having a little word there with Orest. Oh, no, it looks like... Very interesting. Obviously, I think he's just checked over. Potentially might have been a bit of oil that's just gone onto the manifold, and is just steaming up. As the lights go red now, clearly is deemed safe enough to drive. So we'll have to see how it goes throughout this run. Orest in the lead. Martin Neyman in the chase. Absolutely shredding tyres as he comes out of the chicane. Big initiation there from Orest. as they come around now towards outside zone 2. Obviously, that embankment is very hard to get up into, but Orist has no difficulties. But Neyman straightens in the chase as he comes around now in towards 3 to 4. Looking good though. Orist is absolutely on fire. Hopefully not literally, as he comes around towards the inner clip. Out of the carousel, Neyman trying his hardest to keep up, but Orist is just too fast as they come across the line.
Yeah, we've just had fire and fireworks from Oris there in the lead there. Let's break this down. So Oris, an incredible entry coming through that first outer zone, carries the momentum beautifully up across the bank down into outer zone 2. But this is where we see Marcin just straighten, losing power, and then does try to reinitiate as Oris does make his way down towards outer zone 3. Marcin then cuts track just to try and make up that little bit of proximity, try get back up on the door of the S14. He does make a little bit of progress there, making a little bit of proximity up on the pocket of the S14, coming around outer zone 4 as Oris leaves outer zone 4, then does tighten up very, very nicely into the inner clip. But coming across then, that gap develops again coming up to outer zone 5. We're seeing that a lot with a lot of drivers here in battles, that there is quite a large gap opens up after that inside clip going across outer zone 5. So we have both guys there. Oris doesn't seem to be on fire, so, and he is getting the win as well, so he will go through to the top 8. Oris Michalczuk going through to the top 8. Unfortunately, Marcin Neyman will bow out of competition in the top 16. Incredible driving from him all day today, but unfortunately in this case, Oris getting the win.
Incredible driving there from Orist and Marcin Neyman. But now is where it gets interesting, because we've got the man who took down Jakub Bashonski, Dominic Kerr. This is definitely not on his 2025 card, taking down one of the main men of the championship. But we have Valery Shevelov in the lead. I can hear a helicopter going over, so clearly someone's doing some air tours of the track. But now we have Valery Shevelov in the lead, Dominic Kerr in the chase, S13 versus Opel GT. This is definitely an interesting one as the lights go green. We have Ukraine versus Poland, 1000 horsepower versus 780 horsepower. Let's see what they can do as they initiate into our clip 1. Lovely initiation there from both of them, but Orist is, sorry, not Orist, that Opel GT from Dominic Kerr is struggling to keep up as they come around into our clip 3. Oh, but look at that from Dominic Kerr. Does overcommit and just almost makes contact, potentially hitting Valery Shevelov, which causes him to spin. But Valery Shevelov is really struggling to keep that thing from gripping up and going too far inside on that inner clip. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out for, because he almost went into the roundabout of the carousel.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down here. So Valery doing a very, very nice lead here. The initiation was very nice. Dominic, a huge gap there between both the drivers. So Dominic having to cut the track, trying to make his way all the way up to that orange S13 there. As we transition back down the hill and into the decel zone, just gets the transition and the dive all wrong. Does make contact actually with Shevelov. And yeah, just I think that Opel GT of Dominic Kerr just getting that little bit wrong there on the dive, just coming in that bit too fast, maybe not expecting Shevelov to decel as much as he did, but unfortunately that will put him at a disadvantage as we go to the second half of this run coming up.
Right, so we do have a countdown timer here. So potentially we do have one of the drivers already at the line, and obviously they only have around a minute to a minute and a half, maybe to, I think it might be a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get to the line, or it might be a minute actually, I'm not too sure. We'll have to double check, but if they don't turn up to the line on time, then they will be disqualified and they will not be able to continue the battle, which means whoever is at the line will get the victory. As you can see there, we've only got around 23 seconds left, and I'm wondering who is actually not turned up to the line so far. As you can hear, there is a car coming around in the background, potentially Valery Shevelov from the sounds of it, as we have 10 seconds left, and it just sounds like someone has turned up to the line, but we aren't getting the counting down, so we've only got 4 seconds. Could this be someone bowing out of competition? No, they are both there. So obviously, I think what it was, our satellite marshal forgot to stop the timer. So it is Valery Shevelov who was late to the line, but do we have... Oh! Is there potential timeout being given to Valery Shevelov to check his car over due to the contact? This is an interesting development, to say the least. We're going to have to get a confirmation on that, as we can see Mads Andersen and Mikolaj there once again getting ready for their OMT. I'm pretty sure we'll... Ooh, I almost saw contact in the burnout box there. So we're going to get another look here at what happened in the battle. So obviously Dominic Kerr getting gapped by Valery Shevelov at the start. Obviously Valery Shevelov having the power advantage of 1,000 horsepower and kind of gapping him on this main straight. So that one was down to Dominic Kerr though to make sure he was ready on the line. But it's this point here where it come into out of zone 3 and I think the judges are trying to see what caused that contact. Was it down to Dominic Kerr overcommitting? Was it Valery Shevelov being offline potentially in that section? We'll have to see. Obviously, potentially we could get a judge's word from there, or we will be getting information fed to us. We will find out. It potentially is a competition timeout though for Valery Shevelov as we move on to our one more time battle between Mikolaj and Mads Andersen. Obviously, Mads being one of the most excitable and humble people on the grid from what I've experienced so far. And look at him, he is very happy. He's just enjoying himself, and we'll have to see what he can do in that E92. Both running 59 North wheels, same model of 59 Norths at that. As the lights go green, that S15 will be chasing in that E92 M3. Two different kinds of cars, two different drivers, only 50 horsepower difference. Let's see what they can do as Mads Andersen leads in Mikolaj. Nice flick initiation between the two of them. Mikolaj a little bit further behind than what he could be, but as he... Oh, but look at this contact made there from Mikolaj. He straightens out as they come around now into out of clip 3. That front of the bridge just hanging on by a thread, and it gets thrown off by Mikolaj as they come around outside zone 4. Coming around now, but he puts the pressure on. He's trying to force a mistake for Mads Andersen, but he does not as they come around and across the line. What is going on here?
This is nuts. Absolutely nuts. This is the top 16. This looks like a final. Look at this. So initiation, small gap, and Mikolaj makes quick. Did I just say Mikolaj? I did. Mikolaj makes quick work of that, but ends up making contact with Mads Andersen. As we transition back here towards outer zone 3, Mads on a very nice line through outer zone 3. Mikolaj having to make up that line, but makes the dive out onto outer zone 4, sheds that front bumper, and starts to reel in the pocket of Mads Andersen's door. And from here on out, perfect proximity right there on the wheel of that E92 as we come around through the inner clip here. Mikolaj puts foot to floor, and so does Mads Andersen, and you can see even how tight these guys both were. That little bit of gap does come out through at that outer zone 5, so that was intense, and that was the first half of the battle, Brandon. There's a whole another half of this battle to go.
Yep, for sure. And potentially Mikolaj maybe just doing a little bit too much left foot brake going into out of zone 2, which caused the straight in. But we'll have to see as we get sent down the straight again. Lights go green. Mikolaj in the lead now. And we have Mads Andersen in the chase. Will he do a crazy initiation? Yes, he will. Look at this from Mads Andersen right there from the start as they come around to outside zone 2. He does fall wide as they come around now into outer clip 3. He doesn't have to do anything crazy as he comes around into outer zone 4 now, doing an amazing job. Almost wheel to wheel, but oh, look at this from Mads Andersen. And Mikolaj drops wheels. Oh, but he has to bail out. What just happened? Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on in the top 16?
I am kind of confused to why Mikolaj cut it off that direction, but let's have a look at this from the start. So Mads Andersen right off the bat on the door on initiation to Mikolaj. Mikolaj doing a very, very tidy outside line there. Very, very nice. Oh, just dropping wheels as Mads actually does the same. He does follow him out just a little bit deeper as we transition back here. There is a bit of a gap there. Mads transitioning a little bit later than Mikolaj, but after that then in this transition here, Mads makes a huge dive up onto the door of the S15 and powers that E92 around. Now, was there contact at this point? Yes, there was. That pushes Oh, but Mikolaj is already wide at that point, and with that contact does start to go even further around, but decides to loop it the other direction maybe to save the car and avoid more contact. I'm not too sure there if something broke or if he did that on purpose, but we will have to see what the judges make of that. These judges are going to have to look through this with a fine tooth comb to figure out what's going on here. Both drivers are having a bit of a conversation going, do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? I'm not too sure. But,
and his rear bumper is hanging. He's got both front and rear bumper hanging off. Well, front bumper's already off, but the rear bumper's also hanging off now. Mads, this is the first time I've actually seen Mads Andersen look somewhat serious and kind of like, oh no, he's smiling. Never mind, he gives us a wave. Hey, Mads. Oh, I love you too. Obviously, he watches the English commentary side as he's not a native Polish speaker, so it is good to see we have a lot of love for all of the drivers in this grid, and a big shout out to Mads Andersen for appreciating what we do. As we get our result in who is moving on into the top 8. Mads Andersen moving on into the top 8. So clearly Mikolaj making a mistake there in the carousel, and that will be deemed at Mikolaj's fault. So unlucky there, as he did a really good drive this weekend, as we get a result from the judges.
So what a battle we had. That was really amazing driving from both drivers. Really nice proximity from both. However, everything comes to the last part of the run number 2, when Mikołaj Zakrzewski was putting slightly wheels off. That grabs him even more, and then he need to try to get back somehow, and then the contacts happen. And then there's the final over rotation, and basically at that moment the battle was over. So we were blaming Mikołaj for that contact. Now it will be very nicely visible how Mikołaj is running into that zone. Just now he will start to put first one wheel off, second wheel off, and he's also slowing down to stay on the tarmac, and then the contact happens. And that causes also this over rotation at the end. But really good driving from both.
Big thank you there to David Klaas, our head judge, for once again keeping the judging very clear and concise and keeping it transparent. But we have Valery Shevelov now on the line with Dominic Kerr, as this will be... is this a one more time? I can't remember. Honestly, it's pretty crazy. What's going on here, and now we are going to be moving on to our next battle. So here we go. Valery Shevelov in the chase, Dominic Kerr in the lead. Look at this from Dominic Kerr, nice initiation as they come around now in towards outer zone 2. No, this is not a one more time, this is the second half of the battle as they come around now into clip 3, just missing on clip 3 there from Dominic Kerr, and he is shallow in a lot of the areas of the track, but Valery Shevelov is doing what he has to do behind that Opel GT as they come around through the inside clip and across the line through outer zone 5, but Valery Shevelov loses a lot of ground there.
Yeah, I think Valery just getting a little bit lost there, not really sure where Dominic Kerr was going. He was kind of getting a bit confused. So off initiation here, Dominic does initiate quite nicely, gets up on the bank, but kind of drops down a little bit more than he would have liked. Valery trying to get up onto the door of the Opel GT as we transition back here. He will make a little bit of a dive, but it's not really going to work because of how shallow Dominic Kerr is on that line, and then Dominic goes shallow again through outer zone 4, getting late out to that zone. Valery following him around, mimicking quite nicely the line and the angle as Dominic does go shallow again and nearly over rotates here coming into the inner clip, and then has to straighten out to get out to outer zone 5. Valery having to kind of make more corrections there. At that point Dominic just drives off, but not too sure what's the judges are going to make of this one. A lot of mistakes from each driver in both the lead and chase, but we do have a decision here, and it will be Valery Shevelov going through to the top 8 and joining the rest of the top 8 there. We will get after the next battle who he will be facing off against, but Dominic Kerr dropping out after taking down Kuba Pragonski in the top 32 has been knocked out of the top 16 by Shevelov. as we do go back to the line, we have Nasser Al-Harbali and Bartosz Stolarski. This battle is going to be insane. I cannot wait to see this
very
battle.
different cars. Both air chassis, but two very different style of air chassis. Obviously, Bartosz Stolarski in that very like standard S15. Well, no, I say standard, but your typical S15 competition car kind of style. Whereas you've got Nasser Al-Harbali in an S13 with a boss kit, but it's got the craziest and most unhinged V8 you'll ever see. And I've got to say, he is a very iconic driver. Any championship he drives in, he adds a very, very good amount of spiciness into it. So it's good to have him here at DMP for the full season. Obviously, he's won ever since he tried out Drift Masters. He has been absolutely on it and wanting to be in Europe more often. And that is the thing. Here in Europe, we do it really good. This is the home of drifting, I would say, these days, is in Europe. And obviously, a lot of international drivers come into Europe and want to compete here because it is where the best of the best do reside these days. Obviously, you've got the likes of the Irish drivers, you've got the Polish drivers, you've got so many talented, or even the Swedish drivers. Every country in Europe has a crazy talent ceiling. And now we have the likes of Go Green, Nasser Al-Harbali now leading in. Bartosz Stolarski, two air chassis, two very different drivers though, as they come around now into outlet one. Lovely stuff from Nasser Al-Harbali in the lead so far, but Bartosz Stolarski shuts it down. Not too sure what happened there. Potentially a mechanical failure, we'll have to see. But as he comes around into the carousel, look at the line from Nasser here. As he comes around outside zone 4 into the inner clip. This is absolutely gorgeous of a lead line. Perfect across out of 5 and across the line. That is what we like to see from Nasser Al-Harbali, being an absolute critical lead driver. But this is where it gets interesting, Kian.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what happens to Bartosz here. So Nasser initiates, so does Bartosz, but Bartosz doesn't get any power. You can see no smoke leaving the right-hand side of the car there. I think he might have just broke a shaft there as he went to initiate, because there was smoke, and then when he came off the handbrake, there was no smoke from the right-hand side of the car. There was a little bit of smoke from the left-hand side, but zero power. As Nasser Al-Harbali finishes out the run here, doing an incredible lead line. The man from El Salvador, he resides in the United Arab Emirates now, but does travel all over Europe to drive his car. He has done a couple of events with Drift Masters this year, and he has done every round so far of DMP, and he will be back for the finals as well. Doing an incredible lead line there, as we wait to see if Bartosz will make the clock here at the end of it all, or will he have to bow to competition? A lot of you, for some of you who don't know, we do not have 5-minute rules here in DMP. We've no 5-minute rules. You cannot call one. So the only way you can get time to fix your car is if there's contact and you are deemed not at fault. So obviously no contact there between the drivers. So Bartosz not appearing at the line. So we could be looking at Nasser getting a bye run through to the top 8 here, because we get a nice 360 view of Nasser's car. You can see that quick change diff in the back of that car. Definitely dialed in the gear ratios for this event.
Indeed. This is a very unfortunate way for Bartosz Stolarski to finish his weekend. But of course, unfortunately, that is the demons of drifting. These things do happen, and there is the timer goes to 0. And that means the lead is no longer able to drive. He is disqualified, which means Nasser Al-Harbali will be getting a bye run for the second half of the battle, which means he is moving on into the top 8. Very unfortunate end to this battle, but unfortunately, that is the problem. That these things do happen.
That is drifting, unfortunately, but as we see Bartosz being towed back up onto the tow truck. If you are in attendance, do give him a round of applause there, as he is a veteran of this sport. He's been around for years. He's battled with the best quite a number of times. Let's just put it that way. He's been around even Drift Masters. He has battled James Dean in the past. He's battled Connor Shannon back many years ago, but unfortunately for his weekend this time round, it will be ending early. So as he gets up onto the back of the tow truck there. I'm not sure if Nasser will have to do his second run there or not. But the next battle is the one I am super duper excited about. I'm excited about every battle at the moment, but the next one for sure is one that me and you, Brandon, were talking about earlier. Victor Anderson and Greg Merleau. That is going to be an absolutely mind-numbing battle. I don't know how judges are going to separate those two drivers. Someone's going to have to break a car. That's the only way these two guys will be separated, and I think Nasser will do his second run here.
I mean, he's a man of... he's a showman. He will definitely put some smoke in, and hopefully we'll see what he will do with this. Will he take it, or will he save his tyres? Mind you, that being said, usually these tyres do last around 2 runs each, so you may as well burn them off. But we will see.
So he does, all he has to do here is initiate and get halfway through that corner just to prove that he is able to run. And that's exactly what he does there. He doesn't even have to get around. He has to somewhat initiate just to show the judges, yeah, I can go. Chooses to save the car. Obviously, doing this kind of thing, you can end up breaking the car. But
he was like, why am I going into the middle? What am I doing?
So he will get his pass through to the top 8, where he will face off with Valery Shevlov. And we're down to our last 2. Oh, it will, absolutely, as we come down to our last 2 battles of the top 16 here. Victor Anderson versus Greg Merleau right now. Victor Anderson to lead out Greg Merleau. As you can see there, Greg had a bit of contact earlier on with Karolina Pilarczyk. Has that car back ready to go, as we have Victor Anderson also on the line on an absolute flyer this weekend. That Swedish man is ready. He did say to Kuba Bagonski earlier, he said in an interview that he said to Kuba, yeah, I'll see you in top 4, but Kuba went out, so now he's looking for the finals, Brandon.
Yep, definitely, but Greg Merleau is a man possessed. He did extremely well last round, so we'll have to see what he can do with this one, but both of these drivers are absolute madmen behind the wheel. We'll have to see, though, as they come around now. Look at this initiation between the two of them, almost going side by side. But look at this from Greg Merleau, right on the side of Victor Anderson, going through out of zone 2, right there in the pocket, as they come around now into out of zone 3. Look at this between these two Titanic drivers, as the BMW puts it on the side of that GT86, coming around out of zone 4, absolutely pinpoint. But Victor Anderson doing an amazing job in the lead so far, as they come around out of zone 5 and across the line.
Wow, what a run here from both drivers. I did not see a single mistake from either. Here we go. So initiation, Greg gets up onto the door of Victor Anderson here. Look at how close he is going around the bank, coming through outer zone 2. As we leave outer zone 2, come down towards the D cell. Greg gives a little bit of space just so Victor can transition and go through that outer zone. Leaves another little gap there just so they can transition back onto wall. This is where Greg starts to reel him in yet again. And Victor doing an incredible lead line there. Maybe just dropping a wheel on the outside there is Victor Anderson in the lead. But yeah, there's not a whole pile here wrong with this run as we watch here. And look at how close Greg Merleau is coming across outer zone 5 and across the line. He is pinned to the door of that CN6. Unbelievable.
This is what we like to see. Oh, but they have got the fire. Oh, there is a fire. There is a fire, potentially, and once again, another oil feed potentially popping off.
The commentator's curse. I said someone's going to have to break a car for the judges to determine who wins this battle. I'm ashamed.
Yep, it looks like we are just getting a quick check to make sure that is nothing too major. Obviously, he is having to go inside there, and it does look like there is a bit more lingering. Yeah, and it is from the exhaust side, so it's hard to say.
Like where the oil line goes down from the turbo and back. So that could be the issue there, but They are closing down the bonnet, so maybe they are going to send Greg for another run. Yeah, looks like it. So, okay, right. Maybe we don't have two broken cars.
Here we go. So, yep. So now we have Greg Merrilew in the lead. Hopefully he doesn't set on fire this time. No commentator's curse, hopefully, but Victor Anderson in the chase. This was a crazy first run, but look at this from Victor Anderson right there in that GTA 6, following in that E92. Not as close as Greg Merrilew, though, in the chase so far as they come around in towards our clip 3, looking really solid, though, between the two of them as they come around now into our zone 4 in the carousel. Look at this from Greg Merrilew on a textbook lead so far. Victor Anderson not putting on enough pressure, though, compared to Greg Merrilew as they come around now into the last outside zone 5 and across the line. I think this is definitely going to be a more clear-cut decision, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down now. So Greg does an incredible lead line here from start to finish. Not a single thing wrong with that lead, but there is a little bit of a gap there from Victor Anderson. Maybe a bit hesitant on if Greg was going to break down or not. Who knows? But Victor, a little bit of a gap there. Anyway, as we transition back to outer zone 3, we see Victor come through very shortly after Greg, and this is where he starts to try reel him in here on this dive here, coming into outer zone 4. But he does get up there, but would like to stay closer altogether. Just what you can see there, it's still a little bit of a gap. He would like to be that little bit closer there. Greg was in that first run, so coming around the inner clip here, Greg does start to pull away again. Just that little bit, and Victor Anderson will be hoping that there was a mistake there that might flip this.
I just want to do a quick announcement to everyone on the live stream. So if you're looking for the Polish commentary side, it is on the TVN Turbo channel. So we are having a Polish side on here. So if you head over to the TVN Turbo channel, that is where our Polish national side is going to be hosted. So please, if you're looking for that, it is over there. But moving on into the top 8, Greg Merrilew pulling through into the top 8. What a drive from Greg in that chase, clearly just having a lot more pressure. Victor Anderson just unfortunately not having enough pressure. As you can see, our media team going over. But look at that from Victor Anderson there, being a showman, enjoying his time. And unfortunately, he will be banned out of competition in the top 60. He does look a bit gutted, but unfortunately, that is competition for you. But once again, just another reminder, if you're looking for the Polish commentary, it is on the TVN Turbo channel on YouTube. Unfortunately, we do not have it on this channel, but we will be moving on to our judges.
So what a battle. That was amazing to watch. For both lead runs, there were small mistakes from both drivers. It were really small ones. Like Victor had a wheel off. He was slightly early from outer zone 2, and he was a little bit outside at an inner clip. When we look on Merilew's lead, he was over-rotating after outer zone 2. However, he was not losing the fluidity, the flow of his run. He possibly put it half a wheel or also wheel off after that outer zone 2. So that is similar mistakes on both drivers' side. However, if we watch the chase run, the chase runs were not comparable. Like the proximity which Greg was able to provide, that was something else. So that's give him the win.
Yeah, so that proximity from the first run, Greg Merrilew had definitely getting him the win there. So we move it on to our next battle, and our final battle of the top 16, Brandon, is Jakob Kroll versus Thomas Magnar.
This one's going to be something to watch. Obviously, Thomas Magnar having a good round so far, but Jakob Kroll always on the ball with his driving S13 versus 190E Mercedes. Very similar in horsepower, though, not too far off of each other, so this could be interesting. Obviously, the 190E potentially could be a lighter car as well. So it's all about the weight distribution of these cars as Jakob Kroll now leads in Thomas Magnar as it comes around into our clip 1. Look so far as he comes around now into our zone 2. Constant consistency from Jakob Kroll as we see as he goes into our clip 3. Really nice there. Thomas Magnar kind of nowhere to be seen so far in the chase. Kind of just hanging back as they come around the carousel of out zone 4. Looking really solid, almost touching the side of Jakob Kroll's S15 as he comes around now into our zone 5 and across the line. Definitely not the strongest chase there from Thomas Magnar.
Yeah, something I noticed right off the bat there on initiation, Thomas Magnier was late getting back on the power. You can see the handbrake there and then comes back on power. At this point, Kroll has been on power for a couple of seconds, so that's probably why Thomas fell back so much on this transition here. You can see he tries to make up a little bit of ground, cuts the circuit, transitions back early, but then has to cut track again to get up on Jakob Kroll. Jakob maybe just dropping a wheel there, but this is where he starts to reel him in as a last-ditch effort of a dive. Does make contact with Jakob Kroll. Jakob has to straighten a little bit to avoid hitting the wall there, coming across outer zone 5, and across the line they go. Yeah, very few mistakes there, unfortunately, from Thomas Magnier, but again, there's still a second half of this run to go. Thomas is actually fairly good at his lead, so we will see what happens here with Jakob Kroll.
Definitely, obviously, for a good chase means a good lead. Jakob Kroll did put on a good lead, so it was down to Thomas Magnier to utilise that. But here we go, going into the second half of this battle. Good initiation there from Thomas Magnier, leaving Jakob Kroll behind almost as he come around outside zone 2. Doing a good job so far as he come around into angle 3, transitioning now into 4. It's kind of Jakob Kroll doing the same thing as Thomas Magnier. Could this be an OMT? We'll have to see as they come around the carousel. But look at this from Jakob Kroll, putting on the pressure now as he comes around to the last part of the track, almost pushing him across the line. Lovely stuff there between both drivers.
Yeah, I think, Brandon, this might be a fairly clear-cut decision, unfortunately, for Thomas Magnier. There was a bit of a gap here to begin with, but Jakob Kroll makes up that proximity very fast in that S14-9. As we get through here, coming down to the D-cell, straight away here, makes a dive and transitions back, makes another dive and is there on the door, the 190E, the full way around this. Jakob Kroll is a robot. He is incredible at what he does. A really, really good chase driver. Thomas Magnier, again though, like I said, a very good lead driver. Did a very, very tidy lead there, but I think just less mistakes there from Thomas Magnier or less mistakes from Jakob Kroll overall in the battle, as we do get a decision. And it is Jakob Kroll going through to the top 8 to face off against Greg Merleau. And I believe we will have an interview now. As we wait for that interview to come in, the guys don't even know the results yet, but we will go to this interview just about now.
Karolina Pilarczyk, naszą gościną. Cześć Karolina.
Witam serdecznie wszystkich.
Słuchaj, no widziałem tutaj emocje, jakie... Nie sądziłem, że ty jeszcze aż tak się emocjonujesz tym, co dzieje się za naszymi plecami.
Ja się bardzo emocjonuję, ponieważ słuchajcie, no to jest niesamowity show. Po prostu to, co robią ci zawodnicy, ja też wiem, co oni czują w samochodzie. To jest cudowna adrenalina, cudowne emocje. Nie ma nawet słów, które by były w stanie to opisać. Ja często krzyczę w samochodzie, śmieję się w samochodzie i absolutnie kibicuję każdemu zawodnikowi, bo to, co panowie tutaj robią, no to jest majstersztyk. Piękne.
No w ogóle ta runda jest niesamowita, bo z jednej strony wczorajsza lampa, dosyć ciężkie warunki i w samochodach, i na torze. Dzisiaj trochę deszczu, przesychający tor, zmieniające się cały czas warunki. No roller coaster istny przez te 2 dni.
To prawda, roller coaster i to, co jest niesamowite, to też, co widzicie na tej rundzie, czyli nic nie jest oczywiste, nic nie jest już przesądzone. Cały czas zawodnicy, którzy są faworytami, też mogą odpaść. Nawierzchnia płatała figle. Tutaj szczególnie tor w Kielcach jest o tyle specyficzny, że po deszczu on ma bardzo różną nawierzchnię, więc no my jako zawodnicy często jesteśmy zaskakiwani raz przyczepnością, raz jej brakiem, ale rzeczywiście to jest coś, co daje takiej fajnej adrenalinki, takich fajnych emocji i coś, co powoduje, że ja pomimo, że ja jestem tutaj chyba, nie wiem, już po raz setny na przestrzeni tych wielu, wielu lat, może nie setny, ale pewnie setny przejazd, za każdym razem on jest dla mnie czymś innym, czymś nowym, czymś ekscytującym i widać po moim uśmiechu, absolutnie jestem szczęśliwa, że tutaj jestem.
No tak, widzieliśmy, że bawiłaś się świetnie, no ale też jak zjeżdżałaś tutaj z toru po swoim ostatnim przejeździe, ja akurat stałem tam przy mecie, widziałem tylko Mario wyleciał, pokiwał głową, mówi dobra, oddajemy.
No tak, niestety to jest drifting. Ja chciałam dojechać bardzo blisko, miałam fajne treningi w parach, w piątek, potem w sobotę. Strasznie się nagrzałam na te pary, naprawdę ja się nie mogłam do nich doczekać, doczekać, no i niestety trochę przegięłam. No i to spowodowało niestety błąd, który mnie wyeliminował z zawodów, co no czuję niedosyt, nie będę ukrywała, aczkolwiek jak widać po tym zawodniku, który przed chwilą jechał, to było coś niesamowitego, nie przed chwilą, tylko poprzednia walka, to absolutnie świetny zawodnik, kibicuję mu, bardzo mocno trzymam kciuki i cudownie się z nim jeździło. Natomiast, no wiesz, no każdy przyjeżdża tutaj, żeby powalczyć, więc niedosyt jest.
No ale mam też wrażenie, że ten tor w tym roku bardzo mocno zaskoczył, bo no, widzimy, że już te top 16, top 8, które przed nami, no tu chyba nie spodziewaliśmy się aż takiego dużego przetasowania w tej czołówce.
Tak, to prawda, on bardzo zaskakuje, ale też zobacz, zaskoczeniem jest ta niesamowita plejada gwiazd, którą mamy podczas tych zawodów. Słuchajcie kochani, wy nie wszystkich znacie tutaj zawodników, ale tu jest bardzo dużo mistrzów z zagranicy. To są mistrzowie i gwiazdy swoich krajów i możecie ich dzisiaj obserwować tutaj na Torze Kielce i na innych rundach Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, więc serdecznie zapraszamy na kolejne. Natomiast absolutnie to też powoduje, że tu się wszystko może zdarzyć. Tu są niesamowite przetasowania, niesamowite zwroty akcji, co myślę, że właśnie to sprawia, że ten drifting jest tak ekscytujący i tak pasjonujący.
No nic nie jest do przewidzenia i znaczy można było próbować, ale wiemy jak to by się skończyło, szczególnie tutaj podczas tej trzeciej rundy. Wszystkim kierowcom zadajemy to samo pytanie, czy pamiętasz swoje auto, w którym jako pierwsze auto, w którym driftowałaś?
Poczekaj, driftowałam czy miałam poślizg?
No taki kontrolowany, nie że tam na lodzie, no.
Nie, bo ja pierwszego Altonena, czyli obrót o 360 stopni, który nawet bardzo ładnie mi wyszedł, to miałam, uwaga, w maluchu 126P, Fiat 126P, tak, maluszek. Więc to było bardzo dawno, to było ponad 20 lat temu, grubo ponad 20 lat temu. Ale rzeczywiście później auto, którym można powiedzieć, że zaczęłam robić jakiekolwiek drifty, to było BMW E36 328 i to był rok 2007-2008.
No to już
Patrzcie.
klasyki. No. Karolina Pilarczyk, bardzo Ci dziękujemy, super, że z nami jesteś. No i co, widzimy się na czwartej rundzie, zamykając pod koniec września na torze w Poznaniu. Dzięki.
Oczywiście widzimy się na ostatniej rundzie i wszystkich naprawdę zachęcam do tego, żeby przyjechać do Poznania. Słuchajcie, bo to będzie już gra o wszystko, walka o wszystko, to będzie niezwykle spektakularne. Jak widzicie już teraz, zawodnicy nie oszczędzają samochodów, a tam będzie jeszcze grubiej, więc mam nadzieję, że do zobaczenia w Poznaniu.
Zapraszamy zarówno kibiców, którzy są za nami, jak i tych, którzy są przed nami. Karolina Pilarczyk, bardzo dziękuję jeszcze raz.
Bardzo dziękuję.
So there's a little interview there with Carolina, and that does wrap up. Welcome everyone to the top 8 here at round 3, the penultimate round of DMP 2025. Once again, we are celebrating 15 years of smoke, and here is our top 8. Lukas Stasimski versus Orest, Mads Andersson versus Kevin Roble, Valery Shevelov versus Nate Alabali, and Greg Merrill versus Jakob Kroll. These battles are definitely one to watch, and make sure you stay tuned, get a snack, get a drink. This is going to be crazy. This is one to watch, Kian. This is going to be absolute madness. This is where everything heats up even more.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be unbelievable. Like, all day we have been screaming, we've been shouting. My voice is nearly gone. Your voice is nearly gone. It is unbelievable, the level of driving here. It's just been super exciting from start to finish, and we're only about halfway through. We have got a total of 16 battles left, I believe, or 8 battles left, maybe. Who knows? We have RS Michalchuk versus Lukas Stasimski to begin this top 8, Brandon. This is just
this one's going to be crazy. This one's going to be crazy.
Nuts.
Obviously, both of these drivers have been absolutely on it throughout the entire weekend. Obviously, Lukas Stasimski being on complete and utter form, as well as Orest. But let's go. Two S14s against each other. Lukas Stasimski in the lead. Orest in the chase. Here we go. As we have two S chassis going down the main straight. But look at this from Lucas Zimski. Big initiation. Perfect as he comes around now. Can he get into outside zone 2? A little bit of left up breakdown as he gets into it. Not as deep as it usually is as he comes around now into our clip 3. Looking really good though. Artist not as close as he could have been as they come around now outside zone 4 on the carousel. Looking good. Oh, but maybe a little bit of attack there from Artist. Getting a bit too aggressive on the dive as they come around now towards outside zone 5. Look at this from Lucas Zimski in the lead though. Artist really struggling to keep up.
Yeah, let's break this down really quick. So Tashimsky right off the bat, a great initiation, and we've got RS following in very, very closely. A little bit of a gap there. Not anything too major. We have seen drivers take up that gap before, which is exactly what RS did. You can see this dive here, and he'll make another dive here coming into outer zone 4. Does a very, very nice job there. Lucas Tashimsky on that lovely lead line does drop a wheel here. RS does get a little bit caught up there. It surges up a little bit too fast onto Tashimsky as we go across to outer zone 5 and across the line. Not a bad run to kick things off in this top 8, Brandon.
Definitely, as I have a swig of my drink. Jesus, these guys are making me absolutely destroy my vocal cords. I've only just recovered from another event. God, what are they doing to me? But now we have Lucas Taszymski in the chase, Orest in the lead. So let's see what they can do. I feel like Lucas is going to try and prove a point here. As they fire it down the main straight. Here we go. Orest flicking it in. New out of clip 1. Lovely stuff. Maybe coming a bit shy there, which forces Lucas Taszymski to pull back a little bit as they come around out of zone 2. Not as nice as previous runs they've done so far in this bracket, but as they come around into out zone 4, a little bit shallow there from Orest as he comes around. Look at this from Lucas Taszymski though, really pushing, pulls back where he knows he needs to as he now goes for the dive as they come around towards outside zone 5. Orest definitely not having the best lead line there, and it made it a bit more difficult for Lucas Taszymski to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down here. Orest doing a very nice job on initiation. Taszymski following him in. A little bit of a gap there, but again, nothing too much to worry about as Taszymski reels him in even before the decel zone here. Gets through outer zone 3, rotates both cars around into outer zone 4. Taszymski does to make a little bit of a surge up onto Orest's door, but he's a little bit wide here from both drivers. Orest dropping a wheel there on the outer zone, the last bit of the outer zone 4 as we come through the inner clip and across outer zone 5. Taszymski doing a very nice chase run there, mimicking that lead line very, very nicely. As we bet both drivers out of the car around that Tisky 00 barrel. And they will wave to the crowd, have a bit of a chat, what happened in that battle, and we will wait for the judge to drop in their scores. And to be honest, Brendan, they're going to be splitting hairs with this one as well, because this is, let's be honest, these are two of the most exciting drivers we've seen all day here. Orest doing an incredible job all day, but Taszymski doing an incredible job all weekend, scoring a 97.5 in qualifying at the last second yesterday.
I mean, let's not just forget about him in round 2 as well, but moving on into the top 4, Lucas Taszymski moving on into the top 4, which means he's got a shot at the final. Orest, unfortunately, just not having that clean lead line, which he needed to have. Lucas, obviously, like I was saying, during round 2, he was absolutely on fire, and obviously he is our round 2 winner, so he is here to prove a point. He is here to take another podium, and he is a man on a mission. And as you can see there, look at it on the front bumper, on the bonnet there, Virtual Drift Masters. He's got Virtual Drift Masters branding on it. And I do believe Lucas Taszymski actually did a wildcard at the Poland final last season as well, at Drift Masters. So he has definitely got some good seat time behind him, and he's doing the same this season. As we have Kevin Grobel at the line now in that E36. Once again, I am going to mention the Suzuki Collective steering wheel because I have to. But the man on a mission, Mads Andersson, one of the kindest fellows you'll ever meet in that E92. As he puts the visor down, he is locked in, he is ready to go as our startup marshal gets ready to go. 2 different BMWs, 2 very different generations. Here we go, Mads Andersson in the lead, Kevin Grobel in the chase. 50 horsepower difference between the two of these as we go down the main straight now. Mads Andersson does a good lead, but look at Kevin Grobel on the initiation right behind him, but does have to fall back a little bit there as he comes through outside zone 2. Coming around now into our cut 3. This is lovely work between the two of them though. Kevin Roble right there on the transition. Gets the dive almost wheel to wheel as they come around out of zone 4 on the carousel. This is a textbook, but Kevin Roble makes a mistake in the chase as they come around across out of zone 5 and across the line. Very unfortunate mistake there for Kevin Roble.
Yeah, let's break this down. Look at this entry here. Kevin Roble right on the door of Mads Andersen as they come around the bank here. Roble losing a little bit of ground there, a little bit of wavering from the front of that E36 as Mads Andersen has that E92 pinned on that line as they transition back down the hill here through the decel zone, all the way through outer zone 3. Transition back. Kevin is right there, just leaving enough room to transition for Mads Andersen as they come around outer zone 4. This is where we saw a little bit happening here. And we get around here, and as they tighten up for the inner zone, Kevin Roble just stalls out and has to straight line across the roundabout and just get back up onto Mads Andersen there. Just very, very unfortunate for Kevin Roble there.
Definitely, but there's all in Mads Andersen's hands now. Obviously, he's got to not make the mistake. As the lights go green, Kevin Roble in the lead, Mads Andersen in the chase. Will he leave it in the decision of the judges? Big initiation there from Kevin Roble, but Mads Andersen's right there on the rear quarter of Kevin Roble, but he does have to pull back as he comes around outside zone 2 and now transitioning into 3. Can he get the proximity back as they come around into 4? He's kind of struggling to find it, but there it is, Mads Andersen on the door of Kevin Roble. Can he keep behind? All he has to do is just stick with him as they come through the inner clip now towards outside zone 5 and across the line. You had a little bit of a microphone issue there, Kian.
Well, Mads doing a little bit of a tentative entry there. That's all I really said. As Kevin Roble does do a very nice lead line there as we come through outer zone 3, transition back towards outer zone 4. Mads Andersen does have an advantage in this battle, so we will see what happens there with the judges. But look at this, just finishing out this run here is Mads Andersen and Kevin Roble. Very, very tidy battle. Other than that last little bit on the first run for Kevin Roble, everything else in this battle was picture perfect, Brandon.
Definitely. I mean, Mads Andersen has been a man possessed in the entire weekend, as well as Kevin Roble. And two very different BMW chassis, two different eras, but both of these guys are extremely talented. And Mads Andersen potentially having enough there to move on into the top 4, but we'll have to see as they wave onto the crowd. Moving on into the top 4, Mads Andersen moving on into the top 4 once again, celebrating with a fist bump in the air. And congratulations to Mads Andersen, giving us a little smile as we have a quick interview with Mads.
Yeah, as I change over my mic there, just as you finish that there, Brandon, we do have an interview.
The line that you are making every single time, it's quite perfect. How do you feel about it?
We are very satisfied with the line so far. We did some good job with the spotter, so we are pretty dialed in on that. It's way more tricky to do the chasing because there's so much difference initiation, and I feel like a lot of it is dependent in the first corner. That's where the battle gets decided. So yeah, we're good to work with our spotters and see the next opponent and see if we can do as well.
But on this chase run that you did right now, you adapt like quite perfectly to what your opponent did. So I have a feeling that you feel very comfortable on this track.
Yeah, we actually I didn't like that to begin with, but it's just like the last time in Katowice. I feel like it's getting better and better.
Okay, then good luck in top 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And there you go, Mads Andersen giving his opinions on the track and his driving. He is very satisfied, and of course he should be. Very good driving there, even on Kevin Roble's side. Incredible driving. And I do believe we only have maybe 1 or 2 battles left of the top 8, and then we have our top 4 as we have Valery Shevelov at the line. And now this is where it gets interesting. We have Nasser Alabali in the lead. 2 incredible drivers, 2 of the same chassis as well, but 2 very different engine setups and setup styles. And here we go. Nasser Al-Abali in the lead. Valery Shevelov in the chase. Equal on power, equal on chassis. But who will come out on top? Here we go. In the top 8, Nasser Al-Abali initiating into ours. Clip 1. Lovely stuff so far as they come around in towards outside turn 2. But Valery Shevelov kind of struggling to get into the proximity. But can he get a big flick there from Valery Shevelov as they transition now into out zone 4 through the chicane, not the chicane, the carousel section. A lot of proximity being gained and lost at the same time by Valery Shevelov as they come around now into outside zone 5. Struggling to keep up with the pace of Nasser Al-Abali. He is a man possessed.
Yeah, Nasser, an unbelievable driver. A very, very fast driver, but so is Valery Shevelov, as we see here now. Nasser doing an incredible job out in the lead here, collecting that outer zone too. As we transition down, Valery starts to reel him in nice and slowly here as we come down around into outer zone 4. Valery right up onto the door of Mads Andersen, having a little bit of a waver there in the chase position is Valery Shevelov. As we come around into the inner clip, Nasser starts to pull away ever so slightly from Shevelov, coming across outer zone 5 and over the line. Wow, Brandon, this is unbelievable stuff here. We are the third battle into the top 8, and Nasser is on smoke at the moment.
This is where it gets scary because Nasser on a mission is someone you do not want to be around. Is a very intimidating driver to be going up against. But here we go, Valery Shevelov in the lead. Nasser Al-Abali in the... Oh, but what happened there from Nasser Al-Abali? What has happened here, ladies and gentlemen? Obviously, Valery Shevelov is going to continue his run. And was there a mechanical failure for Nasser Al-Abali? I'm going to have to get a confirmation on that. But
Nasser Al-Abali is on smoke, and he's come back, and he has actually got smoke coming out of that car. I'm going to win. That'll be twice today. 3 times today that would be a commentator's curse, unfortunately. But Nasser Al-Abali not making the second half of this battle. So Shevelov doing a very good lead run here just to finish off this battle. And that will be a 0 for Nasser Al-Abali, unfortunately for him. Shevelov doing a very tidy run here. Doesn't really know what's going on. Maybe he doesn't even know that Nasser isn't behind him. But yeah, just going around this outer zone.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to know that he's behind you, because that V8 is loud.
Nasser is not a quiet character by any stretch of the imagination. He likes to linger on that V8. So
I've heard that car in person. It is ridiculously loud, and just imagine with it being right next to you at full power. That, on idle, it is the loudest car on the grid. But just imagine it on full load.
Hopefully we can get some information here from somebody. I would like to know what happened to Nasser, but we will get a decision here from the judges. And Valery Shevelov moving through to the top 4. Shevelov on a flyer this weekend. He will be happy with that. Nearly guaranteed some podium success as Nasser does get towed away. And
I think it is a mechanical issue.
The truck is trying to pull away there, but struggling. I wonder, is the brakes locked on in the car? Is that what's happening there? Or?
I'm not too sure. It is definitely an interesting situation. Maybe did a caliper seize? Or did a line lock up?
Who knows? We will have to get that information from somebody. We are trying to find out that information right now. But we will move it on to our next battle here. It will be Greg Merleau versus Jakob Kroll. This is going to be an unbelievable battle. Greg Merleau is an absolutely unbelievable driver, and Jakob Kroll is that robot. He's been around for years. He is that Drift Masters driver. It is unbelievable, this battle. I cannot wait for this as we get the red lights up on the tree. We will get the lights going green. Greg Merleau tries to get a jump on Jakob Kroll, and as we leave the line here, Kroll through the start line chicane, pedals that S49 down across. Whoa! One as Greg Merleau is right on the door of Jakob Kroll. Drops back a little bit, has to cut some angle to get back up on the door of Jakob Kroll as we transition back around into outer zone 4, and Greg Merleau is right there on the door of Jakub Kroll as we go around into the inside clip there, who just has a little bit of a checkup before we go out to outer zone 5 and across the line. Brandon, what is happening?
That was just absolutely unreal. I'm not gonna lie, kid. I shed a tear of almost like a proud father there. That was an incredible bit of commentary there. I'm really proud of you. That was really, really good. But obviously, that run brought it out in you. And look at this from Greg Merrilew, absolutely on the ball, just pushing as hard as he can onto the side of Jakub Kroll as he tries to get the proximity. Obviously, right here, he is making a couple of mistakes here. Like, he's got the commitment, but he does pull out a couple of times as he comes around here in outside zone 4. But look at this proximity, and he knows he's going deep, and he does almost drop tires, but he does a good job of staying out of that mud as he comes around through the inner clip. And this is where Jakub Kroll does kind of lose Greg Merrilew for a second, and he tries to make the dive, but he can't. But lovely stuff there from both of these drivers.
Yeah,
amazing stuff there.
It's just ridiculous how good both these guys are. Greg is not an old head either. He is very young. He's he's only, I think, about 20 odd, but we have Jakub Kroll, the very experienced driver, to chase out Greg Merrilew now as we get the green light. Greg Merrilew will go through that start line chicane in that E92. Jakub Kroll to chase, very close on initiation here. Look at this from Jakub Kroll coming up on Greg Merrilew as we go out to outer zone 2. And Greg Merrilew sends it into a spin! Makes contact with Jakub Kroll. What happened there? Oh my God, what has happened?
Too much left foot brake, I think, and it caused the car to over-rotate. Very unfortunate end to Greg Merrilew's weekend. I do think that will play against him, and I think that will be the end of his weekend. And that is just very unfortunate, because if we can get the replay up, we'll be able to see on a better scale of what just happened. Obviously, going through outer zone 2, I do believe that he left foot brake a bit too hard and the rear overtook the front. As you can see there, as they get out of their cars, are waiting for their results, and just from that close of the door, you can tell Greg is emotional, and he is very disappointed in that result, in that end. As you can see there, the front of that car is very beaten up, but Greg Merrilew proving to be an insane driver, though, putting on absolutely an amazing show. As we do get our result coming through, and moving on into the top 4 is Jakub Kroll. So unfortunately there, Greg Merrilew making that big mistake, over rotating, going around out of 2, and it's a very sketchy area to do it. And we are about to have a little interview.
Jak się rzekło, gość specjalny, Kuba Przygoński. Cześć, Kuba.
Cześć, dzień dobry.
No mówimy o tym od samego początku, ale to wszystko weryfikuje. Ten tor bardzo zdradliwy i nawet jak myślimy, że ktoś znalazł na niego patent, tak jak Greg Merrilew, no to się okazuje, że tu jeden mikro błąd wystarcza do tego, żeby wszystko się posypało.
Tak, Greg do tej pory jechał bardzo, bardzo dobrze, blisko te chase'y, czyli jechał, atakował i było widać, że ma tutaj bardzo duży potencjał. No ale Kuba Król, bardzo dobry zawodnik, więc tutaj było wiadomo, że będzie walka na żyletki, no i niestety błąd Grega, ale fajnie się to ogląda z tej perspektywy.
No ten tor z jednej strony wszyscy mówią o tym, że bardzo szybkie wejście, bardzo technicznie później. Jak to by się tutaj jeździło, bo ty przerobiłeś kilka, jak nie kilkanaście ustawień tego toru w Kielcach.
Na pewno ta wersja jest fajna, bo się cały czas rozpędzamy od startu i to wejście jest, tak można powiedzieć, z tej ryby, czyli prawo, lewo i pod tą bandę. Tam jest około 140 na godzinę i musisz dodać od razu pełny gaz, żeby nie wypaść w te bandy i opony. No i później tutaj wejście w to rondo jest trudne, bo trzeba zredukować bieg, przełożyć samochód, no i idealnie tutaj, można powiedzieć, jak cyrkiel po tym rondzie przejechać.
No a potem jeszcze, nie dość, że rondo, to potem jeszcze drugi, ten inner clip, który jest tak naprawdę na wylocie, i ostatnia zona. Wszystko to się składa w jakąś taką mieszankę, która daje nam wszystko, bo z jednej strony prędkość na początku, z drugiej strony technika, z trzeciej strony połączenie tego wszystkiego na wylocie z tego ronda, czego chcieć więcej.
Tak, na pewno tutaj teraz widać fajne pary, na pewno to wyjście z ronda też jest takie specyficzne, bo trzeba zacząć rozpędzać samochód, no i na koniec jest tutaj taki, można powiedzieć, zeskok, gdzie trzeba być czujnym, żeby ten samochód dobrze zareagował na tą nierówność.
Czy to jest najtrudniejsza technicznie trasa w DMP?
Wydaje mi się, że w sezonie driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski może być to najtrudniejsza. Przed nami na pewno jeszcze Poznań, ale Poznań jest za to bardzo szybki, ale taki płynny, bo jest równy asfalt, jest wszystko idealne. A tutaj w Kielcach techniczna, trudna trasa na pewno.
No właśnie, trochę już się nie możemy doczekać, ale przed nami jeszcze top 4 tej rywalizacji w Kielcach, w której też tak na dobrą sprawę. No gdybyśmy mieli powiedzieć, co się wydarzy, to potem, co już tutaj widzieliśmy, chyba ciężko powiedzieć.
Wydaje mi się, że będą zacięte tutaj pojedynki, bo im dalej, można powiedzieć, w las, tym jest mocno i bardziej agresywnie, więc też tutaj zawodnicy muszą nerwy trzymać na wodzy. No i zobaczymy. No, sam nie mogę się doczekać na pewno tych pojedynków w tej chwili.
No to na koniec, Kuba, jakim autem pierwszym driftowałeś?
Mój samochód, którym pierwszym driftowałem, to było E30 BMW 325 srebrne, czterodrzwiowe, z elektrycznymi szybami jeszcze wtedy, ale najtańsze wtedy na rynku w Polsce, które mogłem kupić.
Kuba Przygoński był naszym gościem. Dzięki, Kuba.
Dziękuję bardzo.
No i jedziemy do top 4.
So here we are at the top 4 of DMP Round 3 2025. Lukas Szymski versus Mads Andersen, Valery Shevelov versus Jakub Kroll. This is going to be absolutely insane. And I know every single one of these drivers is going to be pushing as hard as they can. And Lukas Szymski versus Mads Andersen, I would say, is going to be the highlight of the top 4, because these two are really wanting this win. And they want to get into the final more than anyone on the grid. Obviously, they all want to be there, but these two are hungry, and it proves in their driving this weekend. We have Mads Andersen in the chase, and now we have Lukas Szymski in the lead. Two really talented drivers here as we await for them to be sent down the main straight, as we have our start line marshal there waiting for the confirmation from our track staff. And here we go, the first top 4 battle of round 3, the penultimate round here at DMP 2025. Here we go, Lukas Szymski in the lead, Mads Andersen in the chase. This is going to be a crazy one, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, look at this one, right there from the start. Lukas Szymski on a great lead line though at the same time. Mads Andersen falling a bit behind there as they come into our clip 3. Now transitioning into out 4. Look at the dive from Mads Andersen coming around the outside zone of number 4, but look at that little bit of a tap there from Mads Andersen, getting a bit too aggressive as it comes around. Good recovery between the two of them as they come across the line from outside 5. Whoa, lovely stuff there between the two of them.
Yeah, my jaw was on the floor at this entry. Look at this from Mads Andersen. Straight line initiation behind somebody who flicks, just unbelievable. Got so close there, had to correct it slightly as Lukas Szymski does an incredible job out in the lead there. Mads Andersen just going that little bit wider, then Szymski falling back a bit as we transition back here into outer zone 4. Mads tries to get back up on the door and succeeds. He gets up onto the door, just makes that little bit of contact, does push Lukas Szymski around a little bit more, getting him a little bit deep into the inner clip, and Mads does fall back a little bit as we send him across the line, and we'll bring it back to do the second half of the battle.
Yep, and I do have a confirmation about Nasser Al-Abali bowing out, and it was his diff that broke. Obviously, in the first run, he had a broken diff to start with, but it completely died in the second run, so he was running one half a battle with a broken diff. But now we have Mads Andersen in the lead, Lukas Szymski in the chase. Here we go, the lights go green. Here we go, who is going into the final here at round 3? Mads Andersen doing a nice flick initiation there. Lukas Szymski not as close on the initiation as they come around into zone 2. But here we go, coming around into our clip 3, transitioning now into our clip 4, or should I say our zone 4. But look at this from Lukas Szymski on the door of that E92, almost pushing him around as they come around into the inner clip, into outside zone 5. Lovely stuff between these two drivers. This might be a hard one for the judges.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's break this down here. So Mads Andersen initiating very, very nicely, nice and wide, very, very fast entry here as well from Mads. As they come around outer zone 2 here, Mads is a little bit shallow there. Then we'd really like to see him, as Szymski doing a very nice job just mimicking what Mads Andersen is doing in the lead, and Szymski starts to reel him in here around outer zone 4, just starts to get in and in tighter and tighter. You can see them brake lights, left foot braking coming around there as we go back out to outer zone 5 and across the line. This will be a very hard one for the judges to call, I think. As we both get our drivers both out of the car here.
My voice is really starting to go, but it is worth it. These guys are putting on some crazy battles. Two very good drivers here, two very humble drivers at that. And as they greet each other, it's going to be an interesting one. Either way, they're going to have a chance at a podium, as they will be able to go for the chance for third. But who's going into the final? It is a one more time. So we are going to be moving on to our next battle, which is Valery Szę versus... No, is it Valery Szę? Yeah, Valery Szę versus Jakub Kroll, as we wait for them to prepare their cars for their one more time. But it just means we get to see these two amazing drivers go again. And I'm very excited for that, as I love watching both of these drivers. And to be fair, I love this matchup. Both of them being really great people on and off track.
Yeah, so let's go back to the line here, where we do have Valery Szę waiting to chase in Jakub Kroll in that S14.9. So we saw Jakub Kroll just a couple of minutes ago go up against Greg Merleau, doing a unbelievable battle, let's be honest, one of my favorite battles all day. But we need to get one of these guys into the final, and we need somebody in the final because we're going one more time with Tashemsky and Anderson. So let's see what both these guys can do as we get the red lights on the tree here. We get Jakub Kroll to lead out Valery Szę. Lights go green. Kroll comes through the start line chicane here as he pedals that S14 down. Wars initiation comes through. Outer zone 1. Szę is right there as he starts to drop off. Oh, and Szę has to make a huge correction behind Jakub Kroll. Jakub Kroll starts to power that S14.9 around outer zone 4 here. And Szę gets back up on the door of Jakub Kroll. And Szę starting to wash a little bit again as we get through the inner clip across the outer zone 5, and across the line goes Jakub Kroll and Valery Szę. Brandon, what is going on here?
Definitely a bit of a shake-up here as they come around. Let's have a look as they go into inner clip, outer clip 1, should I say. Looking good, but Valery Szę just having a bit of a weird hiccup there. And I definitely think that is going to punish him going towards the second half of the battle. There's not much smoke coming from this car. So could there be issues with Valery Szę car? Obviously, it is going sideways, and it does have the power, but there's not much smoke appearing as he does start to see it as he comes around out zone 4. It's definitely an interesting start to the battle. Obviously, there's not much smoke come from one side compared to the other, so there's definitely something weird happening with Valery Szę. But obviously, we'll have to see as they are back at the line. Valery Szę in the lead, Jakub Kroll in the chase.
We did see the marshal there just go look at Valery Szę car as he goes to grab possibly duct tape, is it? Yep, duct tape. To, oh no, just cut off one of the canards there on the side of the bumper, must have been hanging down. As we get a thumbs up from both drivers to our marshal, we get the marshal pointing at the lights as we wait for them to go green. We get Valery Szę to leave the line, go through the start line chicane here as Jakub Kroll does get a big jump off the line, goes to initiate right on the back bumper of Valery Szę through the outer zone here, up onto the bank, out around outer zone 2, transition back down into outer zone 3. Jakub Kroll is right there with Valery Szę as he drops very inside here as Valery Szę goes a little bit wide. And Kroll does jump back up onto the door of that RPS 13 as we go across outer zone 5 and across the line. Brandon, make sense of that for me.
There isn't much sense, let's be honest. This is drifting, is all purely chaos. But look at this, just dropping wheels in now zone 2. So not the most ideal lead line there for Jakub Kroll to chase. Obviously, it could risk him going too deep, but he didn't. He did a good job there in the chase as he comes around into outer 4. Look at this, though, from Valery Szę. Once again, another wheel off. And it is going to punish him as he comes around through the inner clip. Jakub Kroll doing a really good chase, considering there's a lot of moments there in the lead where could have led him off track. So good driving there from Jakub Kroll.
Yeah, so we will get them lined up at the roundabout and we'll get both of the guys out of the car. And we will wait for our judge decision to come in as the guys chill out. Crowd around waiting for decisions as well as we do get one, and Jakub Kroll goes into the final. Valery Szę will go into the top 3 and 4 playoff here as well, but we will see what happens when we go back to the line. We do have that one more time between Lukas Tyszemski and Mads Andersen to see who Jakub Kroll will be going
Kuba
up
Król z
against
nami.
in the final.
Kuba, rozmawiałem wczoraj z twoim oponentem, obiecałem mu, że spotkamy się tu, ale nie dane nam było, bo to co zrobiłeś, no chapeau bas.
No, starałem się jak mogłem. Myślę, że miałem dobrego lida. Valery miał troszeczkę gorszego. Popełnił błąd na częście, ale jest świetnym kierowcą. Widziałem jego przez na tym torze. Wiedziałem, że muszę z nim jechać od początku bardzo agresywnie, żeby nie dopuścić do jakiegoś błędu. Dzisiaj byłem ja lepszy, ale ogromne gratulacje, Valery, jesteś świetnym kierowcą.
No ale spoglądałem na to, co tutaj wyczyniałeś na tym torze i mam wrażenie, że tak z każdym kolejnym przejazdem coś było dodawane, coś było lepiej, jakiś kolejny patent na ten tor.
To prawda, jeśli mogły być 4, to na treningach nie jeździło mi się jakoś super dobrze, ale jak już jestem w trybie zawodowym i gdzieś tam zawodniczym, to te przejazdy z przejazdu na przejazd są coraz lepsze, coraz bardziej sobie pozwalam. Także co, no damy z siebie wszystko w finale, trzymajcie kciuki, pełen ogień.
Kciuki trzymamy, Kuba Król, dzięki wielkie.
Dzięki bardzo.
So there we have it. Amazing driving there from Jakub Kroll, doing everything he needs to do as always, keeping it nice and tidy. But we will be moving on to our OMT between Lukas Tyszemski and Mads Andersen. As you can see there, Kamil just waiting for Jakub to move out of the way. Very, very smart driving there from Jakub. But we do have our OMT now back at the line in the burnout box, preparing their tyres for this amazing battle to recommence. Ooh, getting a bit close there, Lukas. Using him as a clipping point, are we? Here we go. He's going to be going back into the lead. Mads Andersen in the chase. So we'll have to wait and see what they can do. So there we go. Mads Andersen in the chase. Visor is still up, and now it is down. Oh, no, it's back up. As we have Lukas Tyszemski now in the lead. He is locked in. He is making sure he is fully prepared. So let's see what they can do with this second battle. This is to get into the final here at round 3. Mads Andersen in the chase. Lukas Tyszemski in the lead once again. 100 horsepower difference between the two of them. Let's see what they can do as they fire down the main straight. Look at this initiation from Lukas Tyszemski. Mads Andersen once again there on the proximity of the rear end of Lukas Tyszemski. Much better proximity control this time from Mads Andersen as they come around into outlet 3. Transitioning now into 4. Gets the dive. Yes, he does. As they come around, he is always pushing him around. Look at this from Mads Andersen. Almost dropping there, but manages to make it work. Mads Andersen on a heater of a chase as they come around to outlet 5. Lovely stuff there. What a run.
Yeah, what a run from both drivers here. Lukas Tyszemski doing exactly what he needs to do out in the lead here. Look at this initiation, perfectly out onto outer zone 1. Carries lovely momentum around to outer zone 2. Mads Andersen mimicking identical to Lukas Tyszemski as we come down into outer zone 3 here through the decel. And we come transitioning back to outer zone 4 here. You can see Mads Andersen just right there on the door, and he just knock on the door, just letting know to Tyszemski, look, I'm still here, I am right on you. And as we come across the inner clip here out onto outer zone 5, Mads Andersen still right there on the door of Lukas Tyszemski. So we will see what happens in the second half of this run, Brendan.
Yep, definitely. I mean, as you can see there, the PVC drifting carts once again in the background, getting ready. But here we go, Lukas Tyszemski in the chase, Mads Andersen in the lead. Let's see what we can get out of these two phenomenal drivers. Here we go. Your chance for the spot in the final. Who is taking that spot against Jakub Kroll? Here we go into the initiation. Lukas Tyszemski doing a good job. Oh, a little bit of a wobble there from Lukas Tyszemski as they come around now in towards outlet 3. Look at that transition between the two of them as they transition now into 4. Looking really strong though. Lukas Tyszemski once again back on the door as they come around the exit of outlet zone 4. Coming into that inner clip, but look at Lukas Tyszemski right on the rear end of Mads Andersen, and this could be potentially another one more time. This is crazy stuff between the two of them.
Yeah, Brandon, I don't know if we can do another one more time. Me and you, our voices are gone. But yeah, look at that little bit of a wobble there from Lukas Tyszemski in the back there. Not a huge pile of smoke coming from the back of that car. As we come around into outer zone 4, transition back, you can see Tashemski gets back up onto the door of Mads Andersen. Mads doing an incredible job out in the lead here, as Tashemski not doing a whole pile wrong from this point out. Getting very close to the back end of that E92 is Lukas Tashemski as they come across the line to finish out that run. We will see what the judges make of this one. Brandon, this is ridiculous. This is a final any day of the week.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there we go. Getting back out of the car once again. These guys are just putting on a great show for everyone. Once again, meeting each other. You got the crowd in the background there clapping for our drivers. Crazy, crazy stuff. Look at Mads. He's always just looking at the camera. He's such a show pony, ain't he? Look at him. He's built for the camera. He's so happy. We love it. And Lucas keeping the helmet on, looking focused. He is very, very keen to get into the final. But who is moving on into the final here at round 3? Mads Andersen moving on into the final. Lukas Tashemski going into the battle for third. Wow. Going against Valery Shevelov. Look at that. He is a very, very happy man. That is what we like to see. I think, honestly, every time Mads gets a victory, he savours every moment. And that is what we like to see as we get them ready for their next set of battles.
What a battle. We really enjoyed that one, but the differences were very small, but we were able to choose the winner. If you look on the chase runs, Mats was able to do similar, not even better proximity, but with the same angle, not cutting the angle. If we look on the lead runs, there were a couple of more mistakes on Łukasz lead. He was not fulfilling the outer zone 2 completely. He had slightly longer decel. We've been very keen on during the briefing and telling to the drivers, be careful about the deceleration. When we look on the Mats deceleration after outer zone 3, it was way better. So small differences, but we've been able to choose.
Thank you once again, David Klaus, our head judge, for giving us a bit of insight to why that decision came around to the way it did. And that is what we like to see, a bit of transparency in the judging. But look at that from between these two drivers, absolutely insane. It's what we love to see. A great battle, great personalities, and this is what drifting is all about, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look at the proximity there from Mads Andersen. Unbelievable. As I believe we do have our little drift carts. Look at that. That is so cool. I am building one. I don't care. I am figuring out how I'm doing it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're doing it, Brandon. We're going to get a couple of these around Driftland.
Oh, no, definitely. Imagine these on Mondello.
I'm going to message Stuart McKellen now. Turn on DMP.
I love how that one has headlight. Wait, I've just realised that one's like meant to look like a Volvo, I think, at the front. Or something like that. It's got lights.
Yeah, they've all got
lights.
Oh
my god, there's a van! There's a van! Oh, that's so cool. Oh, look at the proximity though. Coming around in towards outer 3. Going absolutely crazy for the crowd. The Volkswagen Transporter going crazy against this little Volvo drift car as they transition now in towards outer 4. Does end up a bit shallow, but can they get into the zone? A bit of commentary for the drift carts, but just going a bit too wide. Look at this though, absolutely amazing stuff between these little drift carts. All they're going to drop tires.
Wheels there.
Crazy, crazy stuff. Oh, I didn't expect myself to be doing commentary for drift carts, but look at that through the inner clip, absolutely pinpoint there. This is what we like to see. They do, they're actually nippy little things, ain't they? They look slow on here, but they must be rapid.
I don't think you could drive one of them without a smile on your face. That has to be the most fun thing ever. That is unbelievable. Oh, and he's crab walking there. As we get a
Absolutely
nice view
crazy
of our track here from our drone cameras. Big shout out to the drone pilots this weekend, doing an incredible job getting us to see all of the angles for our battles. As we see the Speed Games Arena just there. So if you're in Kielce, do go down, have a look at the Speed Games Arena, maybe get a spin out in the car. And yeah, we can... Very, very cool opportunity to have at most of our events. I think all of our events now, is it, Brandon? This is at all of
Yep,
our events
every single
for,
event.
DMP.
Every single one.
So if you're looking to experience what it's like inside a drift car, get down to a DMP event and get into the speed games area and have a go yourself in the passenger seat. See what it's like inside the cars.
That's what we love to see. Experiencing drifting in person is definitely something that you definitely able to do. That it's definitely
And
something
we
you
have
should
the
do,
Mercedes
should I say.
Sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter ambulance going for a lap of the track here. As a big thank you to our medical team who are on call at every single event. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. There are ambulances and medical teams at every single event, and they're there for the general public. They're there for drivers in case we have a crash. They are there on call routinely. So big thank you to them as they
Oh,
go
we love
do
it.
a qualifying lap by themselves, get a bye run. As we have our beautiful crowd there showing support to all of our drivers.
We love to see it. This is what it's all about. It is a spectator sport after all. As we just wait for our battle for third to prepare itself.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the last of the preparations to be done for our last two battles. So in the final, we do have Mads Andersen versus Jakub Kroll, and in our third place face-off, we have Lukas Strzemski versus Valery Shevlov. As we do have Lukas Strzemski pulling to the line here, Valery Shevlov warming his tires. You can just see the sleepy eyes on that S13 coming through the smoke as we just prepare for the last of our battles here.
Yeah, we do indeed. This is your battle for third. So Lukas Strzemski in the lead, and we have Valery Shevlov in the chase. This is definitely going to be one to watch. As we just wait on start line marshal. Here we go. The lights are going red. I didn't realise to do a full count, to be fair. And here we go, full green, which means we send them down the main straight. Lukas Strzemski in the lead. Two S chassis, two very different styles of S chassis. But look at this from Valery Shevlov getting right there. A little bit further behind than what we were expecting, but he does manage to find a proximity as he comes through outside zone 2 to out cut 3. Lovely stuff though between the two of these. Look at the dive from Valery Shevlov. Just fall back a bit as they come around now through the carousel of outside zone 4. Coming around into the cut. There is a gap being from here from Lukas Strzemski as they come across the line.
Yeah, very good run here from both drivers. So let's have a look and let's break it down. So Strzemski doing a very nice initiation here. Nice flick initiation as Shevlov follows him directly on the same line. Not a whole lot of proximity to begin with, but then does start to reel him in as they come through the bank along outer zone 2 here. Does get within half a car width and even closer there as we transition back down the hill towards outer zone 3. Shevlov still right there with Strzemski. And as we transition back towards outer zone 4, you see the brake lights just flash on momentarily there for Strzemski. And again, as he settles that car onto that arc nice and fluidly, as Valery Shevlov does follow him nicely behind there, as he does get a little bit out of shape, drops the wheel possibly there on the last bit of outer zone 4. Coming through the inner clip comes both drivers and across outer zone 5 and over the line. Brandon, this is going to be an insane second half of this battle. I think Shevlov will be on a good lead line, and you know what happens when Shevlov's on a good lead line? You have Strzemski right there following him.
Look at the sit back from Strzemski there. He's sitting quite far back. He knows Shevlov has the power advantage, so he's got to sit for the behind and try and get that run-up advantage. As you can see here we go as Lukas Strzemski starts rolling forward as Shevlov now leaves that chicane. Here we go. Who's getting third place here at round 3 of DMP2025? Look at the gap being formed there from Shevlov. But there are red flags. There are red flags going down. So potentially a false start there. We'll have to see. I was going to say it's definitely an interesting start, but
Interesting. Yeah, maybe that could be it.
There was not much of a turn.
Yeah, and
that
in
could
fairness,
be
he didn't
why
get
there
a
was a
huge
gap.
advantage out of it, but yeah, you can
I mean, he
see,
did gain a gap there.
Tushemski did have that little bit of a jump there before the start, and he is allowed to do that in the chase position, but maybe... Yeah, so we are hearing that he did lightly touch the cone, Tushemski, coming out of the start line chicane, so we will restart that. As we get both drivers ready on the line, we get red lights as we get prepared to send both these drivers down. Through the start line chicane goes Valery Shevlov as Lucas Tushemski gets the jump on him as we go to initiate. Big flick initiation here from Valery Shevlov and Tushemski right there as he power up towards outer zone 2, around down into the D-style zone of outer zone 3 as we transition back again to outer zone 4. Tushemski not as close as he'd like to be here as he starts to reel him in very slowly as we come around through into the inner clip here. Tushemski on him. Absolute madman line, trying to get up to Valery Shevlov, but not getting there in time, I don't think. Unfortunately for Tushemski, as we'll try break this down.
Definitely an interesting first half of the battle. Obviously, Shevlov does get a bit of a gap, but not too deep on outer zone 2. So that's one thing judges are going to be looking at as they come around into 3. Good proximity. Could have been a bit closer, but obviously you got the transition straight after, so he does have to hold back a bit as they come around to 4. Lucas Tushemski does have to shallow his angle a lot to keep up, but obviously it's all but a big straighten up there from Lucas Tushemski. So it's definitely going to be an interesting second half as they go into switching around. Oh no, that was the second half, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
God,
So
my brain is fried. This weekend has been long, it has been intense, and it has been amazing. So we're just going to wait on that result.
Yeah, we'll wait for the judges to drop in their results here as both drivers are out of the car, as we have Tushemski taking off his helmet and hood, drops on that hat as he gives the cars a little bit of a wave there. Both guys out of the cars, and yeah, hear the crowd there. Good big round of applause. Both guys waiting very, very patiently down at the carousel section of the track. And we will see. This was a very, very tight battle. Judges will deliberate on this one. A couple of mistakes from both drivers, so we need to see. We do need somebody on the third step of that podium, so we will get that at some point, whether this goes one more time or if we end up having to go, as we do get a replay here again. As he's trying to make a massive dive onto Valery Shevlov. So we do have a decision, and the decision is that Valery Shevlov gets third place here at round 3 of DMP here in Kielce. So that has solidified number 3 position for today.
So we had quite strange situation in the second run where there was hit of the cone. That means a restart and a strike for the leading driver. However, both drivers were not seeing the first red flag, which was applied, and they continued. So there is big possibility their tires were compromised for their second run. However, it is on both drivers to see that red flag and stop drifting, not continuing. So that's why we did not provide them a possibility to change the tires. Then we got to the second run, and unfortunately, Łukasz Tasiemski was not able to keep up correctly, and also he did pretty big mistake at the roundabout coming from outer zone 4, where he got understeer, and that sealed the deal for him.
You're the winner.
Yes.
Just a second. Łukasz, no myślałem, że jednak radość będzie, no bo to 4. miejsce daje sporo punktów, no.
Daję sporo punktów, jestem wściekły strasznie na to wyjście z ronda. Auto mi skisło, zabrakło mocy i czułem, że odprostowałem i znałem już werdykt wysiadając z auta.
No rozmawialiśmy też że skupiałeś się na parze po parze, parze po parze, no więc nie będę cię pytał, czy myślałeś, że to tak się skończy, no ale co, jedziemy dalej i widzimy się na 4. rundzie.
Dokładnie tak. Jeszcze raz wszystkim tutaj bardzo dziękuję za doping. Było u was widać. Jeszcze raz Kielce!
Valerie, we spoke yesterday and we want to make an interview, but I told you that we will meet on the grid.
Yesterday I didn't believe even I would be in top 8, top 16. My first day and second day was awful. I did a lot of mistakes with the grip, with the setup. It was awful 2 days. And when you said that, I was thinking that it's impossible. You will not take an interview, you know. But drifting, I find my setup, I find my driving, and now I am third. Okay, it's nice.
3rd place, congratulations, and hope to see you on the last round.
Yeah, I will be on the last round, and I hope it will not be 3rd place because now I don't like this place 2nd time in a row. Maybe 2nd, I don't know, 1st.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So congratulations there to Valery Shevelov. Again, 3rd place. Obviously, Łukasz Tasiemski not making it easy for him. But now we have our final battle. This is the final. So this is where it all comes down to. Jakub Kroll in the chase with Mads Andersen in the lead. 2 insane caliber of drivers. And Mads Andersen obviously loving this track more and more as he goes along. And here he is. Is he going to drop his visor down? Is he going to keep it up? That is the question as we get them ready to go. Here we go. This is your final here at the penultimate round. Round 3 of DMP2025. Mads Andersen in the lead. Jakub Kroll in the chase. Here we go as that E92 M3 goes down the main straight with S15 in tow. Look at this one. Jakub Kroll though in the chase. Coming around now in towards outside zone 2. Looking really consistent in that lead is Mads Andersen as Jakub Kroll gets into the dive. Look at this one. Jakub Kroll diving into the door of that E92 as they come around outside zone 4. Absolute TikTok driving on both of these drivers so far. I am messing up my English, that's how fast I'm talking as they come around into outside zone 5. Lovely stuff there between both of these drivers, Kian.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down here. Jakub Kroll doing an incredible entry in behind Mads Andersen here. Mads on a very, very nice line here. Comes through outer zone 2 very nicely. Jakub Kroll right there as we transition back. Jakub just leaving a little bit of a gap there so Mads can transition, and this again leaving that little bit of gap, and then starts to drive up onto the door, the E92 as we come around outer zone 4. Jakub Kroll right there on the door of Mads Andersen as we power both those cars across the outer zone 5 and across the line. Jakub Kroll wanting that top step, but we have another run to go, and Mads Andersen is a crazy chase driver, so it's not over till the fat lady sings, and Mads Andersen is in the chase lane right now, Brandon.
Yeah, Madge Anderson is a man possessed, and obviously Jakob Kroll is not going to make it easy for him. Obviously, with that chase, very, very textbook. But I feel like Mads Anderson is going to try and pull something out that we've not seen out of this man for a while. As we have the lights go in, here we go, the final run of round 3. Here we go, Mads Anderson in the chase, Jakob Kroll in the lead. What have they got for us as they come around now into initiation? Look at this on Jakob Kroll though on the initiation. Mads Anderson could be a bit closer, gets the top. Look at that for Mads Anderson as we come around now into our 3. Look at this. Excellent lead line. Mads Anderson coming around in the chase. Nice and close, almost pushing Jakob Kroll around with the carousel as they come around now towards the inner clip. He's going to have to push hard as they come around outside zone 5. Look at this as they come across the line. What a way to finish this round.
Yeah, let's break this down here. Mads Anderson doing a very tidy job. A little bit of a gap there. More than in the first run as we see Mads Anderson start to little bit of cut angle just to get up onto the door there of Jakob Kroll, and from here on he is always in that pocket as he leaves that little gap to transition. Jakob Kroll goes into outer zone 3. As we come back, we'll transition back to outer zone 4. Mads Anderson does make another little bit of a dive here so we can reel in Jakob Kroll as we come around outer zone 4. Look at this from Mads Anderson, right up on the door, putting that wheel in the door of Mads Anderson, making sure Kroll knows that Anderson is there as we come along over to outer zone 5. Mads Anderson reels up again onto the door of Jakob Kroll, and we'll bring these guys down to the carousel so the judges can deliberate and discuss who is getting the win here at round 3 of DMP at Kielce circuit.
This was just absolutely incredible, and to be honest, I am absolutely shattered. But who is your winner here at round 3? And it's one more time. They do not have a decision. Obviously, they need something more concrete. As my God, I can't handle anymore.
Can our voices take this?
Yes, it can. I will force it to. I will force it to.
This is
That's probably
nuts.
how I fell ill, to be fair.
Yeah, fair. To be honest, Jakob Kroll and Mads Anderson not giving the judges an inch here for deliberation. Literally identical mistakes and runs there from both drivers as we wait for them to just go back to the pits, change their tires, come back to the line there. Big thank you to our sponsors. You can see our start line there. Motul is one of our sponsors. We have Tiski 00, Red Bull, Tool Truck or Toolmex, and Merlo Machinery. So we will get those guys back to the pits. You can see some of the show cars starting to leave there out of the car show. I don't know why you'd be leaving right now. You want to see the end of this. You want to see this final. Do not go anywhere if you are in attendance. Do not go anywhere if you are watching the live stream. This is going to be unbelievable here.
Oh, honestly, to be fair, that's a clean BMW down there. Or is that Mercedes? I think it's a Mercedes. I can't tell. Yeah, no, it is a Mercedes.
BMW in front, Mercedes in the back there.
Yep. Oh, I just seen a M3 competition wagon, which looked really cool. That's, to be fair, I'm a big fan of estates though. I own a Volvo estate as my daily, so big fan of them. And you got some really cool looking cars here. I think there's a Prelude, a white Prelude there as well, which is really cool. Next to that EG Coupe, which is really, really cool. Love the old Civics. Got a classic. I can't remember what the generation was before the E30. It's really, really cool. Oh, we're just going to get a quick little word.
On the track here.
Kevin Wróbel?
Jesteśmy, dobrze, jesteśmy, słyszę, no już nie musi. Jesteśmy tutaj, żeby opowiedzieć wam z Wiktorią trochę o tym, co się dzieje na socialach Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, bo tam no tak naprawdę już od czwartku żeś tutaj działała i pokazywała te przygotowania nie tylko zawodników, ale też całej organizacji Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski.
Tak, dokładnie, zgadza się. Słuchajcie, atakujemy już od czwartku, pokazujemy wam wszystko, bo tak naprawdę pokazujemy wam, jak powstają powstaje tor, jakie tu są przygotowania, ile ludzi w ogóle działa w tych przygotowaniach, bo to też jest bardzo ważne, że ekipa, która przygotowuje każdą rundę, jest liczna. A my tutaj z ekipą social mediową jeszcze na bieżąco pokazujemy rozmowy, emocje, myślę, że przede wszystkim emocje i trochę pokazujemy Wam drift od kuchni, bo co się dzieje w padoku.
No i też można się uczyć od was, jak się robi dobre rolki, bo to, co wy wyczyniacie na social mediach, no to naprawdę szapobaj, czapki z głów.
Tak, dokładnie. Ekipa tu jest naprawdę z samych zawodowców, więc no, to wszystko robimy dla Was, dla kibiców i dla ludzi, którzy kochają motorsport tak samo mocno jak my.
Zachęcamy też oczywiście do tego, żeby oznaczać wszelako driftingowe Mistrzostwa Polski. Mówiliśmy też o tym, że wybieraliśmy auto, które kibicom najbardziej się podoba w stawce. Czy był jakiś taki najmocniejszy kandydat do tego tytułu, the best car of Kielce?
Tak, tutaj było autko z Jokerem, o ile się nie mylę.
Czyli Kevin Wrubel.
Kevin Wrubel, tak, bardzo charakterystyczny samochód, który tutaj przyciąga uwagę kibiców szczególnie, bo no, malowanie agresywne.
Agresywne malowanie, agresywna jazda. No, czekamy tutaj na rozstrzygnięcie podczas trzeciej rundy driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski w Kielcach, no ale czekają nas jeszcze legendarny, nie boimy się tego słowa, Poznań i tor w Poznaniu, na którym gościliśmy już w zeszłym roku, no i to, co się działo tam, no mam nadzieję, że w tym roku też ten wasz udział social mediowy, no pokażecie nam od kuchni, jak wygląda Poznań.
Oczywiście będziemy działali też od czwartku, pokażemy Wam wszystko, no Tor Poznań, nasza polska legenda, nasz licencjonowany tor, duma narodowa, że tak to ujmę, także śledźcie nas, zachęcam Was bardzo do zaobserwowania profilu Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, bo tam pokazujemy Wam naprawdę wszystko, jesteśmy dla Was i działamy zawsze od rana do wieczora.
No i też gdybyście szukali tabelek i chcielibyście śledzić co, po czym, na co, po co i dlaczego, no to też najlepsze miejsce, żeby być na bieżąco. Driftingowe Mistrzostwa Polski w social mediach. Zachęcamy, a my przenosimy się do rozstrzygnięcia trzeciej rundy Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, czyli rundy na torze w Kielcach.
I kierowcom życzymy powodzenia.
So a nice little interview there with both of our presenters who are both on track and given all the information trackside. As we do have both of our drivers back again for the final, warming up their tyres. This is going to be something else. I can guarantee you that these boys know what to do. They know how hard they have to push, but now it's just a question of how hard are they going to commit. We will see as Jakub Kroll is just finished warming up his tyres, as we have them both back at the line now. I'm now going to be fully sat back in my chair, as this is where things get serious. That S15 performing extremely well the entire weekend, and Jakub just really pushing. He is a very technical driver, very precise driver, but then we've also got Mads Andersen that has all the style, all the flair, and all of the aggression that he needs, but he is also a very critical line driver himself, so it is all coming down to this moment. And I do believe we still have 59 more North in the chat cheering on these drivers as well, who they are sponsoring. But as we have the lights go, here we go, the final of DMP2025. Hopefully we don't have another rerun, as we have them going down the main. Mads Andersen in the lead, all in the chase. Lovely initiation there from Mads Andersen as we come around now to outside zone 2. Solid performance so far between the two of them as they come around into outside split 3. Now transitioning into outside zone 4 off the carousel. Jakub Kroll is right there on the pocket of Mads Andersen as they come around now, just touching as they come across towards outside zone 5 and across the line. What a first run of this last battle.
Yeah, let's break this down here. Mads Andersen doing a very tidy job here on initiation. Jakub Kroll right there as he cuts a little bit of angle just to get up onto the door of that E92. Coming back around here, down towards the hill and into the decel of outer zone 3. We have Mads Andersen starting to transition back. Jakub Kroll giving a little bit of room here as we come back around to outer zone 4, and Mads Andersen not putting a foot wrong here in this outer zone. Jakub Kroll, look at the proximity here, doing a fantastic job putting the wheel in the door, taking off the side skirt of that E92 as we come back around to outer zone 5 and across the line we go.
What a run between these two. And obviously we've still got a second half to go. So here we go. Our start line marshal gets them prepared as the lights go on. Here we go. This could be our final run of round 3. Mads Andersen chasing in Jakob Kroll now. Flipped around. Nice initiation between the two, but look at Mads Andersen right on the rear pocket of Jakob Kroll as he comes around outside zone 2. Along the side of that, a little bit warming there as he comes around, gets the dive into outer zone 4. Look at this for Mads Andersen, a man possessed in the chase as they come around. Jakob Kroll doing a good job in the lead though as they come around now into the outer zone 5 and across the line. What a battle between these two Titanic drivers.
Yeah, let's break this down here. Mads Andersen, like a man possessed going into this initiation. Look at the dive he makes up onto the door of Jakob Kroll here. It's so precise as he just kind of noses that car up towards that S14.9 as we transition back, leaving a little bit of a gap there so that we have enough room for transition. And again, once we transition back here, he reels him back in, makes a dive onto outer zone 4. Jakob Kroll is driving the wheels off that S14.9 at the moment, doing a very tidy lead line, but that's making life very easy for Mads Andersen, leaving him the window just to get up on the door because he knows exactly where Jakob Kroll is going to be. Jakob Kroll will just do a lead line time and time again, and that makes life very easy for Mads Andersen to do a very tidy chase run. Brandon, I don't know how the judges are going to split this.
My heart can't take it. It's honestly like I love both of these drivers. I love both of these drivers to bits. So it's very hard to know who to root for. But obviously, look at this between the two of them. Obviously, Mads Andersen having a little bit less angle, but that's because he does have to keep up to pace in the chase with Jakob Kroll. Little bit of a gap forming there. But just an incredible drive between both of these drivers, and whoever wins as well deserved this win. Obviously a very hard fought battle, but there is a bit of a tire drop there from Jakob Kroll, which we did not see. Only a little bit, but obviously that does come into a factor when you're coming into these last battles. It is splitting a hairline between every single driver. So we'll have to see what the judges think, and here are our judges.
So I'm not sure if you already saw the winner or not. We will just say that one driver had slightly better lead than the other, and the other one was having significantly better proximity on his chase. And the proximity at this moment was weighting slightly more than the slightly better lead. So the proximity at this battle won. So then when you will find out who is the winner, go back and look who was providing what.
Oh, keeping it cryptic, David. We like that.
Very ominous there from David.
Yep. Who is your winner here at round 3? Mads Andersen getting the win at the penultimate round here. DMP, I am at a loss for words. Look at this. His team coming in, being an absolutely legendary team. He is going to be absolutely gassed. But Jakob Kroll getting second place here at round 3. And Camille is here with an interview with Mads Andersen. Congratulations, Mads. You have deserved it. What a drive.
Mats, what can I say? I have a feeling that you're speechless, but I'm speechless after your driving here in Kielce.
Man, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
Yeah, but you're driving from the beginning, from the qualifications till now, pure madness.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just felt like when we were going past top 32, we were going in the groove, you know, just trusting our lead run all the way, and it paid up in the end.
And the car, pure perfection, same as the driver.
The car is pure perfection. The team did an awesome job this week and making sure everything was tight before each run. So I owe it all to the team this week, and I wouldn't be there without them.
Huge congratulations, and hope to see you on the last round.
Thank you, man.
Mads Andersen, take a bow. And that does conclude round 3 of DMP 2025, celebrating 15 years of smoke. What a round it has been, both between semi-pro and pro. It has been absolutely incredible. We are just going to get all of our drivers here, and we are going to be getting our podium set up very shortly. So, honestly, Kian, the podium is right there. They got that up quickly. But honestly, Kian, it has been incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. The driving all day today has just been spectacular. And let's be honest, if anything was to be the final, it had to be that. Mads Andersen, Jakob Kroll in the final was just insane. You had to have the one more time. We've had one more times all day. We had to have the one more time for the final. Jakob Kroll, Mads Andersen, you have to split hairs with these two guys. They are unbelievable drivers. Mads Andersen, absolutely a man possessed today, just driving the wheels off that E92. That car has done so well, and obviously big shout out to Mads Andersen's team doing an incredible job, and a big shout out to Jakob Kroll's team as well for keeping his S14.9 running very
Hałas i wielkie, wielkie brawa! Łukasz Tasiemski! I jeszcze raz dajcie duże brawa Tasiemowi! Co? Także raz jeszcze duże brawa, obaj są już na podium, więc raz jeszcze podziękujcie im brawami! A my oczywiście lecimy dalej. Kategoria Pro na miejscu trzecim. So in the third place from Ukraine. Please make some noise for Valerii Szewelow! And in the second place, oczywiście na miejscu drugim. I dzisiaj to będzie Król Jakub II! No pierwszy może nie, ale Król Jakub II! I oczywiście miejsce pierwsze Mats Andreasen. So in the first place from Denmark, Mats Andreasen! Please make some freaking noise!
And there you have it. There is our pro podium there with Jakub Kroll in second. We have Valerii Szewelow in third and Mads Andersen taking the top spot here at round 3.
I raz jeszcze wielkie, wielkie brawa! Czekajcie, management tu podszedł. Ja koło Kuby, mogę koło ciebie? Nie wiesz? I czy mogę być koło ciebie na podium? Dobra, to słuchajcie, tu jest król Maciusz I, a tu jest król Jakub II. Wielkie brawa! Raz jeszcze zróbcie hałas! I chcę zobaczyć wasze ręce w górze, w górze, w górze! Wszyscy, wszyscy, wszyscy! No i to oczywiście była trzecia runda Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski na Torze Kielce, która przechodzi teraz do historii. Natomiast my jesteśmy z wami jeszcze przez około godziny. Zapraszamy do godziny 19:45 na przejazdy Drift Taxi i na przejazdy, a raczej przeloty helikopterami z ekipą Heli Solution. Także widzimy się na drugiej stronie toru, a tymczasem ten najważniejszy moment, czyli celebracja szampanami!
Drifting jest to bardzo widowiskowy sport, ale żeby był widowiskowy, musi być bardzo blisko kibiców, żeby te samochody przejeżdżały jak najbliżej, a żeby dało się to zrobić, to trzeba zabezpieczyć zawsze trasę. I Trans pomaga nam z tymi klockami Lego, tak żeby zawodnicy mieli fajną trasę, a też żeby wszyscy byli bezpieczni.